So I think the structure we have in place for that map is really strong. So everybody has a very clear idea of what their role is and how they should perform, what we should do in certain situations. So I think that takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, a lot of their like on-the-fly thinking. So Lightning Fast is able to just focus on aiming. He's mechanically a very strong player. I think if he has one downside or weakness is that when he has to overthink situations, has to think a lot about situations, that's when his mechanics can drop off. But when that isn't the case, when he really knows what he's doing, he can flourish, and that's what we've seen on Icebox, I think.
I mean, okay, for my question,
Aku mau cerita
what
Jan.
ultimately is you've been, this roster has been active for like almost half a year now. What's been like the biggest change for you guys from the beginning of like when this roster formed to like right now, especially joining, having experience on kickoff, on split one? What's been like the biggest change or like outlook, I guess, that the players have gone through?
I'd say probably it's been a pretty gradual change. Like for kickoff, we aimed to play a lot around like heavy strats. So the comps we were playing were like kind of gimmicky. We were playing things with like Gecko Breach, for example, that was like very heavy executes and so on. So we switched away from that a little bit to develop our fundamentals a bit more. That's what we've done going into this split. It's trying to recover that as part of our identity after that is difficult. I'd say the biggest shift we've had is actually this week. We've made like quite a big change to our calling structure. Off the back of the previous losses, we felt like we needed to make some sort of a change. So we've been implementing that over the last few days, and I think that's a really positive change for us.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you want to share a bit more?
I mean,
without giving away your secrets.
There's not a huge amount I can say. I mean,
Berkais.
Apakah Bani akan step up? Semoga. Kita doakan yang terbaik saja, dia udah bisa balik performanya. Ini match penting soalnya. Come on bro. Tolong jangan tiba-tiba memuai atau turun.
That's really interesting. Like I'm really excited to see what G have been cooking. I wanted to bring it back to in the interview that you had with Jen, or well, barely an interview. She was trying to get an interview with you guys, but you were in your huddle and it looked like you guys were doing like that mental reset that you guys do. You have a mental coach, I believe. Can you talk more about his role and how that comes into play in matches like these?
So the big thing that he set out was to help us develop a strong team culture.
Kalau dari Aristo, kesalahan dari Bani apa? Masalah pribadi, internal perasaan, banyak pikiran. Aku woi, aman, aman nih Dakoji ya, aman ya, semoga aman ya, aman semua. Jangan lupa like teman-teman ya. Oh iya, oke, Dakoji, oke, digantiin, oke, aman.
That was something we struggled with a lot in the last series. We came in strong on Icebox, we played well on the breeze, and then weren't able to close it out, and being able to losing it in such a close fashion.
Kita lihat watch party dari Kofrosun.
Tapi emang kadang mesti di aware sama temponya GE sih. Jangan dibikin nyaman sih. Ini tim soalnya lumayan ngandelin ala sama OP banget. Kadang-kadang jadi bahaya.
Yeah, of course. I think T1 played exceptionally well in that game. Like a big difference. Obviously, they made some changes as well, and they showed a big improvement over the.
Lu liatnya double J?
Enggak.
Ada suara.
Final question, Prof. If I can. Now that 2G is gonna come in.
Perasaan lu doang kali nggak ada.
Ruin like some of the.
Ada suara Prof.
Nggak ada. Lu nonton yang Prof kali.
Enggak.
Kenapa gue ini doang?
I don't think it's going to make a huge difference to how the game plays out. It might change them a little bit on the internal in terms of their calls and so on, but from our point of view, it doesn't really change the game that much.
Well, it looks like everything that
Coach interview by Predator, guys. Let's go Predator.
So it should be an interesting one. Thank you so much, Ben. Good luck to you guys.
Thank you very much.
All right. I'm sorry to take the penguin.
Itu punya kanan. Yoi.
Sorry, we'll find you a home soon, okay? I'm sure a lot of people out there want to take you home.
Even where is he? The bear.
The Tacti Bear.
Yeah, Tacti Bear right behind me.
I know.
Let's go Predator.
Tacti Bear, right? I think.
Yeah, he's got Tacti Bear.
Yeah.
And I have to apologize to the penguin for smashing it after.
Oh no! Oh,
so sorry.
Oh, that's right.
I already
Ross.
apologized once, but
Oh,
I do apologize.
it's okay. I'll
again.
protect
I'm sorry,
you. I'll
Ben.
protect
I'm sorry.
you. Yeah, but I love that interview with Spin because it appears as though GE also have been doing a few changes of their own, right? You have RRQ here with a change that they weren't exactly prepared for, and now they have to adapt on the fly. And you have GE who's been really been cooking up something this entire week and possibly changing their entire structure.
Yeah, and I think I've always thought Spin is a really good coach. I think they get a lot of flack, and I understand
You
it's
should
hard.
tell him that.
I do tell him that behind the. I do.
Oh, yeah.
He knows, but like he's really smart, so I think he gets a lot of hate that is not.
Yang 7 udah lama nggak
I
dimainin
think
loh
that's
padahal.
well and fixed stuff.
Apa?
Yeah. I think so.
7 udah lama nggak
And
dimainin.
as I mentioned, it
Sekarang
appears
main,
as
kan?
though everything that we
Iya,
could
baru
have
ini
been
main.
thinking
Iya.
about this match probably isn't gonna go the way you think it will. So I'm very excited to get into this one. We are having Global Esports and RRQ for our first match of the day. So let's get on stage. VCT Pacific Stage 1 of Day 2 of Week 2. Week 3 rather, starts now.
Kok Benkai udah nggak pakai peran yang sama lagi ya?
Apa siapa?
Benkai kayak dulu gitu.
Apa? Ball kitnya
Iya.
udah jadi cool sekarang, beda.
Ah, tahu lah orang boxing dulu Benkai.
Global Esports. RRQ.
Tuh, kok Astra ya lah?
Nggak jadi main.
Undefeated, locked and loaded, we about to go. Caught 'em with that left, right, leave 'em tapped out on the floor.
Duh,
Could this
Benkai
be
cool
GE's
banget.
first win,
Oh,
or
itu
will
G.
RRQ
Ada
further
dong.
cement themselves as one of the powerhouses in Pacific? That is the big question that this series is going to answer. As we heard from earlier, a lot of changes coming in for both teams. Changes of different types here.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting to see how these actually play out with so much pressure on this match again. You know, GE desperately needs a win just to even have a hope of maybe even getting to playoffs. But letting them know, Blaze King, let's go. But like, I mean, also then of course on RRQ, because your group is so dominant that you're in, you need this win just as badly. So this is going to be a really awesome battle between two good teams, two great coaches.
Yeah, there's just, again, so many big things happening right now. The head-to-heads as well, right? It's going to be interesting to see how the calls right now will be coming in from Russ and Elmore. Now that we heard as well from Spin that they're trying to get Benkai more involved in this GE roster. So is that really going to help them ultimately here into the series? So many things that is being adjusted by both teams in different ways, and it's going to have to culminate here and now.
And you just gotta love Blaze King, going over with a friendly trash talk, right? For the Indonesians on the other side, of course, Blaze King as well knows these players so well. And you look at T1, right? They use the Indonesian to defeat the Indonesians. Could that be the same here for the side of GE?
I mean, we've been kind of waiting for one of those like classic Blaze King games. I mean, he was so dominant in APAC for so long. He's been okay so far here in Pacific, but he hasn't had like that statement game, that game where he shows up and starts getting aces and taking over rounds. So I definitely have my eyes onto him to see if he can step it up a little bit. Maybe that's part of the move as well, with Benkai kind of chiming in with the calls.
Well, let's see indeed how this series go. It is map number 1. Let's toss it on over to Quack and William.
Hah?
Kecil panggungnya.
Thank you very much.
Emang
Mika,
kecil tuh.
Pipthin,
Kemarin gua
and
tanya sama
Asura. Yes, that is right. This is
Aaron
going to be Global
Senpai kecil.
Esports versus RRQ. Some familiar faces, but at the same time, very critical moments, right? The third week.
Yeah, I mean, GE, obviously, they just talked about it ad nauseum, but GE just desperately need a win, right? You don't want to go out in stage 1 as the team that didn't ever get a win. Let alone now on RRQ, they thought they might have it locked in, but everyone on Omega is starting to look better and better. You know, even DFM thought they were going to try to challenge a little bit after taking down T1. things are absolutely in flux. So especially with this kind of creative format with the cross-group round robin, this is an absolutely do or die for both sides.
And RRQ has always been improving. Sometimes, just not quite narrowly making out to a win. They did beat teams like Bleed last week against T1 was a little bit rough. But today the map picks do seem to favor them a little bit more.
I like to think that I've done my job last year as the RRQ Glazer, because now people are saying like, oh, they're like one of the powerhouses. And I'm thinking like, I don't know, they might need some more time. It feels like they might need to cook a bit more. But obviously today, with 2GE coming in, we'll see how that changes things. We are going to see, of course, 2GE highlighted as it's its first match here in 2024 for RRQ. But we'll be picking up that Omen. Even Coach Spin saying it shouldn't make too big of a difference. Obviously, I think you still expect the same exact compositions.
He's still very much involved with the team, and he's always been that good. We don't always get to see him play, but he's always around. Meanwhile, just taking a look at the compositions across the board, William, it's practically the same, right? And we've seen how both teams have performed so far, but RRQ has always been the one that's looking a little bit more impressive with some of their setups.
Yeah, and this Lotus match, actually, I think the first two matches are going to be very interesting because they have very differing tendencies and styles that could counteract each other, right? Depending on how they've what their POV is on that prep. So RRQ, one of the things that really was that they relied a little bit too heavily, especially when they were on the Viper. And then on the defense as well, they were kind of waiting to see the util and then trying to react to it, etc.
Tapi Bani pakai Esther, pakai Viper.
And a lot of it falls
on
the shoulders of players like Polvi,
dia nge-flex ya, Bani ya?
Attacking. And that's exactly what we're going to have once we kick off the map. Global Esports on the attack, RRQ defending.
So GE, Global Esports, what I would love to see today, win or lose, is being a bit more proactive with the timer. What we saw in their previous matches, both against Talon and DRX, was that they would kind of rely on holding on to B main, see if there's rebel control from the opponents, and then slowly start to retake control past the 1 minute mark. But at that point, you're starting to run out of time and options. So I'd love for them to, maybe take some contact plays as well, sprinkle that in a couple rounds to see if they can take advantage of the tempo that you have on a 3-site map as the attacking team.
All right, I see what you mean. You definitely want to see them, especially a team with such strong, duelists and fraggers to go in for some of these duels. And if they can actually soften up some of the defenses, they might be able to do a bit more. But for now, we're starting things off slow.
I mean, it is the pistol, but I like this from RQ as well. Not investing anything to take rebel control, right? They understand that GE, they're not going to all in too early onto that rebel fight. So they'll just hold. You have that forward alarm bot. That always gets so much value no matter which team's playing it. So GE, these are the rounds where push in, tag that bot. All right, that's already value you've gained right before the 1 minute mark. Still a little bit slow at the beginning, but it's value gained.
Alt Orb gathered as well, but just as soon as it comes out, you've got the dark cover just to block off a little bit. And I love how Xfer is trying to play around this. Oh, but unfortunately not quite landing the shot. This gives Global Esports a lot more space into the C site.
It's a nice try. Xfer had a good read that there might be just a cut of audio. Paint shows to try to delay. Should be able to still finish it. Oh, the C's a little bit late.
No, he's
not good to get the kill.
And he gets eaten. He eats the paint shells as well. So Polvi fights right back. Now RRQ gonna have to retake this without any advantages. They've been smoked off as well, so just waiting for it to dissipate. Maybe 2G can toss in a paranoia. But the positioning from Global Esports
RRQ harus menang kan buat masuk ke babak playoff.
Will get tossed down just to kind of weaken them a little bit, but it's not going to be enough. 2G tries to rush right in, gets a little bit of a right click, but it's not still enough. 3 targets left, and Flips is down at 10 HP. He swings, but Polvi just tags him down. A quad for this guy in the pistol round, and very close to a showstopper.
Yeah, it might not be the flashiest round, but I think if you're a GE fan, that's a round that makes you feel good about the team already. We don't want to write things off too early, obviously just 1 round, but sure, a bit slow, but they're still able to push in, try to clear out the alarm bot early. Then they decide to cut audio instead of having to use all their util to get in. And then they position the post plant to make sure that they have a crossfire at all times no matter where the paranoia comes through. Blaze King always had vision, and once the paranoia clears, Polvi is able to get a 4 kill. I mean, this is everything you wanted from this team for that pistol round, and Polvi's already getting hyped up.
That's exactly what you want from Global Esports. RQ not backing down without a fight, though. This is their pistol now, and they are looking to get whatever they can retrieve. So both Alt Orbs on A and C.
Karena Spectre udah nggak terlalu bisa jarak jauh ya, Pan.
Viper's pit over the lockdown.
Nggak
It just
ngaruh,
obviously
dari dulu
Flips
juga
already had
sama.
an extra point as well, but being on defense, can't fault him too
Masih
much.
tetap jauh.
To check
Nggak
as well.
bisa
You
apa,
already
nggak
saw
bisa
that there
jauh.
were two members. GE, they're reading things very well. I mean, we'll have to keep tabs, but you know, maybe that extra comms coming in might be able to clear things up for GE today.
Iya, harus menang ini sih.
Tactical fights as
Iya.
well. I mean, whether or not it's just Russ going in with this separate C-site squad, he's calling out for that paranoia. They're going in for these kills, and they're making sure that they're going to keep every single weapon as they go into the next round. That's what you want to see from them.
Yeah, 40 seconds. You still have so much time, and during all of that, Blaze King creeps through. He realizes no setup on A, no reactions either. Now, he is going pretty deep, but he's got the Spectre. He's not in a bad position because you're still able to isolate fights 1v1, and now they have to clear him, right? I mean, if they clear him, sure, you get a weapon, but they have to wait and try to fight this out. He's able to reset the aim as well. An excellent round played out on the anti-eco by Global Esports.
Okay, Elmingmore tries with the classic, but unfortunately it's going to be Benkai with the ghost that takes him out instead. And it's just a little bit of fun, you know. The best thing is that Global Esports does make it a flawless round. But for Blaze King, you know, the fact that these are some of his Indonesian brethren on the other side, he's it's a little bit of a friendly match as well.
Just imagine the storyline if the only teams RRQ loses to are teams with Indonesians on their squad. I mean, listen, we might be onto something here, okay? T1 might have been onto something when they brought out the Obscured IGL last week. Might have cracked the code.
That's the trick. Maybe Fleet's gonna have to pick up an Indonesian player next. But for now, dark cover is a lot of rubble control. Global Esports gonna have to respect this.
Yeah, this is now with the weaponry, with the defaults coming in, Global Esports. Usually when this happens, they just wait, they wait to see, and then they have to go for a util dump onto C. That's what their tendencies have been. But do they go, especially since it's a bonus round, for a bit more contact play on C?
So far, they've been given a lot of room around this spot, so why not? If anything, I'm wondering how come RRQ isn't really making any moves around the rotating door. Instead, this time just double stacking it up on C, a 2-on-2 default setup. Pillars getting checked, but nothing found.
Yeah, and since you see no re-aggression onto Rubble, you're going to switch over Jemkin towards a link. And this map kind of favors RRQ even with 2G slotting in, because generally the Omen can solo hold on Rubble for
Terakhir
a long
lawan
time, right? So
Genji,
it's not too important
agak berat
to
sih
have been
RRQ.
scrimming
Ini
a
harus
lot with the team. You're still
menang
able to
sih.
go through the motions
Kalau
quite
dari
well.
sisi ini ya.
It's taking a little bit of time though, so he's going to back up. Instead, now holding up around tree, tosses out a bit.
Menurut lo, Ban,
Genji itu hari terakhir.
Iya, 3 nama yang bakal ke Shanghai.
Meanwhile, the rest of the squad actually starts to push in through C. Flips
PRX Genji.
Colby with the
Apa?
showstopper now. Nobody's on site.
Kedua
PRX
Oh, Derek.
sama Genji.
There's 10 seconds
Derek
left
sih
on the
lagi
timer now,
sakit
and like
banget
that,
sih.
has the plant
Jujur
around the
banget
stairs.
ini.
Oh,
Lagi nyala
he
lagi
hit the
deh.
wall there.
Iya, anjing.
Manages to take him down in time. All of a sudden, it's a
Jujur
little
kemarin
bit
gue pengen
tricky.
libat
Kecuali
Derek
T1
anjir.
Stick the spike.
Kalau T1 bisa ini apa? Menang dari Jetta sih harusnya bisa ya. Tapi kalau Genji menang dari RRQ 2-0 sama aja bohong.
RRQ menang dari
Susah sih,
Genji
T1.
2-0.
Derek sih lagi ini banget.
Derek lagi naik.
Kalah bangku.
Kalah bangku. Semenjak si yang itu masuk ya? Siapa sih namanya? Gue lupa.
Enggak ada yang masuk. Siapa masuk?
Satu baru masuk lagi, Cok.
But you don't really expect it to hit this time though. Just all
Derek?
out in towards the
Siapa
rubble.
ya?
Got the entire
Siapa sih
squad
namanya?
around.
Ada, itu ada yang baru masuk.
Ada yang baru masuk.
Tucked away behind a lot of these smokes.
Orang ganti roster
And he
kemarin
might
satu.
just be able to catch a sneaky one.
Oh, si Ben.
Ah.
Gimana sih bacanya Bayin
itu.
apa itu?
They're marking him though. Blaze King very aware.
They know, man. Xfera and Elmimore, they both love to play that spot, and they always peek out right as a smoke drops, whether it's toxic screen, whether it's a dark cover. GE has come prepared, and that's
1 lawan
always been
5
true
lagi.
in all of their matches. As 2GE last alive just tries to do whatever damage, but GE has always had good
Berantakan
ideas.
mainan
The
yang
first 30
RRQ.
seconds of every round they've played has always looked pretty decent so far in stage 1. It's just the execution wasn't ever quite there. They could not ever quite put the exclamation mark at the end. But today, things are starting to come
Tapi
to fruition.
DFM
Yeah, they've gotten the spike.
enggak, gue
down
nggak berharap
now.
dia
They're
masuk.
marking
Tapi
all the
DFM
exits.
satu pemain itu yang
Even
bagus.
have
Sayang nggak sih di DMM
Mei
nggak ada yang mau
doang.
ngambil dia?
Detonation fokus Mei. Bukan.
Enggak.
Dia
Dia doang yang gendong
Bukan.
anjing.
Bukan detonation fokus Mei, bukan. Detonation fokus Mei. Cuma satu yang main.
Dia doang yang main anjing, kasihan teman-temannya.
Sama aja kayak Zest Esports.
Zest Esports siapa ya? Gua nggak tahu. Gua nggak ngikutin dia.
Blade. Blade kan yang main cuma Zest sama Scary.
Oh, gua nggak ikutin Blade soalnya.
Just a little bit too chaotic to find your picks, but still now. Wall of smokes, Global Esports goes for the same game plan.
Serem anjing game-nya anjir.
Get a lot more space to push up front. Helmy Moore only has
Apa
a share,
RRQ
so
mainnya masih
they're
berat
fully
banget?
aware they're going up against a slightly weaker buy.
And during all of this, you're still seeing if there's a push out from C-Mount from Benkai, right? So while I would love to see if Benkai maybe at least goes for a little bit of a jump peak contact, something like that, that could give them a bit more time. But what you're really waiting to see is, now that we've got contact on A, is there a bigger force on C? They only quite checked one, maybe two players, depending on the gun sounds, over on the A side. So G's not quite sure, is this a stack or not? They're waiting for a reaction.
Let's see what they can fish up. RQ's not quite biting the bait though, Will.
Yeah, but Benkai, yeah, he's on the move. Now, all of the Killjoy setup on C is very deep into the site, so Benkai's not going to find as much value as he would have liked, but what he is telling his teammates is, okay, it's not a forward setup, still nothing at the entrance, so he might think that this site is relatively clear. This could be a rude awakening. There you go, but Blaze King with an important kill on the A side.
There it is. Good kill, but at the same time, the Nightfall.
Ooh.
Now it's just a bit of a fake as they head on over to the B site. It's completely open except for Heaven, but they have those exits marked as well. 2G goes down to a bit of a trade. Now Jemkin wants to push up front to deny the spike plant, but he's being blocked off by lightning fast. Look at the cover from Global Esports. They are doing such a good job with the cover and fire movements. Polvi on the off angle now. Xfero comes in to check.
Oh, hey.
That's the head gone.
Nice check.
The Stinger actually does a bit of damage. Benkai, though, has the angle from the back, and it's going to be Blaze King on the side of Baby Door to clear out the rest of the team. Global Esports, not too shabby at all.
You know, this always gets a lot of teams when it comes to that B site. When you see the clock ticking down, you think you have a better shot of denying that plant. But the fact of the matter is B site is primed for retakes, right? Even if they take over A link, you can still create so much pressure. Sure, it's a 3v4, but you have to wonder if Jemkin hadn't taken that early damage, wouldn't this have gone a little differently? Maybe it would have gone down to a 1v1. But I do want to give props to Global Esports on making sure that they still had Crossfire set up. The post plants look a lot cleaner, and they seem to be a lot more aware of their options, right? You go for Blaze King getting contact after Benkai starts pushing into the C site because you see no Killjoy util. That tells me that Global Esports kept in mind that, okay, there still might be something on C, right? Just because the Killjoy util isn't outside of the entrance doesn't mean that it's entirely empty. They're not making any assumptions yet, and this is a much-needed timeout from RRQ.
Definitely. I mean, this is like great and steep improvements for Global Esports compared to the previous weeks. The fact that this is RRQ's map pick says a lot. Because RRQ, they play pretty darn well against Bleed on this one, but then now it's struggling against T1, back into it. They haven't quite made a lot of adjustments, especially against a team like Global Esports, where maybe they don't have that much experience with. I mean, this new squad now, this new roster, you got Russ making the calls, and his Nightfall from that previous run into the C side, I think, was one of the things that really confused RRQ.
Yeah, I mean, the kill on A plus a Nightfall on C, that creates pressure, but then they even tag too, so they say, let's go B. That's the weaker spot right now. Overall, really good calls. I mean, Russ has absolutely been impressing me. I mean, sure, he has a decent reputation, but he's one of those players where I didn't expect much, right? Plus or minus is kind of a non-factor for me when the roster was announced, but I stand corrected. I mean, he's been fragging, he's been calling, he's been getting the reads, and now if that's new structure that they're working on with Benkai, be even more assistance, could be a huge change.
Really could, but you know what's even better? It's going to be Helmy Moore with the Sheriff. Pops out, takes a shot against Russ. Just a little bit of a trade from Polvi, and Global Esports have to regroup.
Okay, Benkai being spotted, that alone already draws a lot of the attention away from A. I mean, this is big news for the rest of Global Esports. They could come to B, they could go to A. I mean, these jump peaks, it's getting nerd. Oh my gosh, the baby being broken at the same time. I mean, this is just a different look at Global Esports. The timings are so much better.
just everyone making moves all across the board. RRQ, they're very lost and confused. We saw it. Jemkin turned around because he heard the door. He thought that it was clear to move back. And Ben is just that sneaky. 2GE now, trying to take what he can get. We do have Flips, who retrieved a bit of a weapon. That might be opting to save that instead.
Yeah,
at least to wrap around the back for exits.
Yeah, go for an exit or two, but if not, take away
RRQ pegangan ge udah kita tiba-tiba.
It's looking rough, because here's the thing, RRQ, their default hasn't changed too much. Granted, defensive defaults, they are fairly standard. Oh, he's even ready for this! I mean, Global Esports is way more tuned in today, and they looked pretty good against Talon at the beginning as well. Let's not forget that, right? Let's not write it off. That was a match a lot of people felt Global Esports should have won. So whatever they're doing, whatever that mental coaching is doing for this team, it is working out.
I mean, it's everything. The mental coaching, the fact that the team has stuck together through thick and thin. I believe, Will, that you don't really win a fight without being tested. And this team has been tested. They are going through it.
I mean, Gen G last year got tested and then they fell apart. So
that's why they didn't win last year.
Yes, there's a little bit of a different limit testing going
on.
Timing
lagi. Anjing.
That's what I'm talking about. Global Esports looking so much better in this opening map for today.
Yeah,
Colby with the showstopper now, wanting to clear out so much space around the seaside. RQ are afraid. They have no choice but to turn back.
Yeah, Xfero spots him coming deep as well, so you have to know that he's here. He's actually in a spot too, so you have to be ready for it. And Jemkin gets picked out.
Just focus on the aim, says Coach Spin, and he does exactly that. Elmi Moore, though, will be able to push up front for him. Waterfall, unless not quite marked. Russ will be able to come back in to find that a little bit of a trade. Xfero still marking the angles with the operator. The Killjoy moves up front now. Benkai watching out from Waterfall. Just eliminating a couple more angles, and it's a little bit more doable for RRQ in this moment, but Flip's not quite being able to land the shot. Xfero swapped over onto the Vandal. Will be able to play out his teammate's death, and that's going to be the defuse. Second win for RRQ.
Being wary of that flank from Benkai was everything, because otherwise that was a 3v2. The pinch was coming in, and it was going to be a tough timing for RRQ. So props to them, but lightning fast, sure, it's not as explosive as a map so far than maybe some of his previous games, but what a shot to pick off the showstopper. Really helps delay this retake and force it all the way down to the wire. Meanwhile, I mean, RRQ, this was an important round to get that confidence.
Aman ler. Aman ler.
Also, can have the good crossfires, the good double peaks.
That was off of the timeout as well. So looking a little bit better now. We need more rounds just like that one. They have 3 ultimates to work with, a lot of tools at their disposal. Xfero with the operator, like we mentioned. But what is this? A shot through the toxic screen from Russ. Unfortunate for Jemkin.
I mean, it's so clear that Global Esports has studied a lot of the tape from RRQ, the tendencies to actually hide behind the enemy toxic screens, things like that. Make sure there's always a crossfire, but this paranoia is good. Sets up Elmi Moore.
And Flips coming in to help out as well, but look at the re-peaks from Global Esports. B&B, Benkai, and Blaze King come in to eliminate no threat.
Oh, nice,
but even the operator gets removed from his arms.
Listen, I don't even know
Lu jadi
about this
pendukung
season
siapa sih,
specific
Ji?
anymore,
Iya
man. Like,
dia
everyone's been
makanya
saying
anjing.
Global Esports
Gue melihat G,
melihat
itu jadi kayak gimana ya, yang belum pernah menang cuy. G itu belum pernah menang, cuman ngeliatnya seru banget loh G main sekarang.
Quite frankly, if you're RQ, did you expect to lose this crossfire with Elmi Moore bouncing off of Flips' aggro like that? No, normally they win that, but G's just ready for it this time.
Gue dukungnya mau RRQ, cuma gamenya bagus.
It's not about any like crazy reflexes, it's just about having a better understanding.
Blaze King Indo kan? Bukan?
Indo.
Ya, Indo.
Mantan boom.
Buset, Benkai lihat apa tuh? Lihat jerawat musuh tuh.
Starting to focus in. Picks off one with the sheriff.
Pori-pori itu aja mana?
Hah?
The previous round, they had that op on Xfero. That's
lagi ambil Gojek katanya. Dia ngambilnya Gojek, gila, bukan ngambil makanan di Gojek, ngambilnya Gojek.
They recognize, okay, that's the weak side. We can pressure that for
Ngeliat
now.
pori-pori
You do
itu
this way
di
before the
Benkai.
1 minute mark. You still have more than half of the round to work with.
Solar nggak kena.
Bagus Pi kombinasinya Pi. Singularity itu Pi.
Careful because you never quite know what RRQ is capable of.
Nah, masalahnya. Aku malas beli skin di sini lagi, cowok, sumpah.
Because of a little bit of fire from some of these frenzies.
Cuman kadang skinnya menggoda gitu loh.
A lot of headroom into A site. Look at lightning fast.
Gue baru beli lagi tuh.
The only thing is the spike. Yeah, the spike isn't quite there just
Apa?
yet. And Xfero
Kuronami, Vandal.
would have been a close one either case.
They don't really know that he's there. That could
Tapi
be
belum
a bit of a
di-upgrade,
problem, Will.
anjing.
Yeah, especially with the rifle picked up. And, I mean, you've got some other ultimates as well. RQ just has to hold on to time. The paint shell's coming as well.
Oh.
Aduh.
All right. Lightning
I love
fast
the pit.
manages to evade it. The pit comes up, gives them a little bit more.
Wow, timing! Oh!
Flip's able to pick up just the one. Still not quite enough.
Do you have the
Itu pit apa, cok? Sumpah, cok.
Timing cu anjing,
Able
anjing.
to swing back. This is now Global Esports very aware of every movement from RRQ, even though Flips has the Viper's Pit and he's trying to sneak around you. Picks up the Vandal, but unfortunately it's a bit of a crossfire and two players staring right down your barrel.
I love that they're aware of this. And one of the things that might have given it away is the timing of the pit. The pit comes out, but where's the lockdown? If you're going to invest that much on an eco, surely the lockdown's coming from somewhere. So at that point, you don't see the killjoy anywhere. You see people starting to flood in. You're thinking something's not right. As soon as you hear the lockdown, Polvi turns around. He's ready for the shot. GE is just focused in, and maybe that's all they were missing this entire time.
Excellent point, Will.
Look.
I mean, just the
Astaga,
awareness
balik-balik tadi
from
dua.
not just Polvi, I get it. He might have been the one to turn around.
Apa ini?
But I have to imagine there are a lot
Makanya.
of communications going on throughout the entire team. They can keep this up, make this map a quick one. It's going to be very troublesome for RQ into the next. Lightning Fast starts things out, holding the angle around pillars.
See, now that you've done a couple higher tempo rounds, now going for that slow
Now you
default.
switch things up.
See if the push comes out. Why? Because Rubble hasn't worked out for RQ. Mountain hasn't worked out for RQ. So there's a good chance. And even if they don't come out, you only spend 20 seconds. You're still able to work the rest of the round. So
Iya,
Global
makanya.
Esports, the attacking looks a lot more convincing.
Kalah
Obviously, still a
2-0
long
sih.
way to go. You're on
Wow!
So even
Headshot
though Filler might not quite have worked
boleh.
out at the start of the round, Xvero still sharp as ever, posted up front with the
Kok kalau gua
operator.
kayak gitu gak kena sih tembakannya, malah ke atas.
The rest of Global Esports knowing that they probably
Kurang
don't
kencang,
want
skill
to
issue.
back into the A
Iya
side.
sih.
Kurang kencang, dilempar masnya.
That op is solo,
Lempar.
but now with this timing, you're expecting there's at least going to be some backup coming forward. So I like digging into the B site. That's usually going to be the weakest. You'll worry about the post plan afterwards. You're going to push them out with the lockdown. Now, how far deeper do they go? And is there alert from Lightning Fast?
Might just stick around, play around Baby Door. Let that lockdown cook a little. Check with the Prowler. Spike gets down.
more timing di
RQ wants to
atas.
retake. But they're only taking it from Waterfall and Heaven area. Link. The Prowler goes in to check. They start to swing out. Xvero fires off the shot. 2GE now chiming in.
Nice
But
2GE.
Global Esports still managing to hold. Lightning Fast trying to lurk and peek out. Oh, there's a bit of a check.
Oh,
Wey!
But he gets burned by the Nano Swarm.
Buntuk
2G finds zone
berhasil.
up against Benkai as well, and that's going to be the round for RRQ.
Yeah, Flips, not really even going deep into the fight, just tying someone up at B main, keeping them, tied to that revolving door. That was huge. That allows the rest of the team to really focus on just peeking one at a time, bouncing that aggro back and forth to make sure they can clear each corner of that B site. Overall, that also ruined Lightning Fast's options of do I go for a deeper lurk or not, because he had to refill the site immediately, and they're ready for it. They're aware of that possibility.
Very strong fundamentals. I mean, that's what the desk was talking about. That's what we're all talking about. RRQ, they've always been building up on this. They've always been working on this. We don't want to go too crazy, but as long as we have clean protocols and how we want to retake, peeking off of one another, checking to make sure that there's no sneaky lurk coming out from Lightning Fast, they'll be able to do much better. 3-7 right now. If they can make it a 5-7, that would not be too bad.
Oh, they know. They saw the door was broken. They're ready for this. Xfero, if you repeat this, it's going to spell a little bit of danger, in my opinion.
Mati dong.
But the timing!
Just a little bit of movement and accuracy comes back in for the repeat, but Lace King is ready. At the same time, look at Benkai, Will.
Yeah, RQ has a read on this, though, right? They realize, okay,
Mati
it's a
Benkai.
slow creep up. Now that Baby Door's already broken, a high chance of that pinch on to B. So Jemkin's just going to hold on to this. You can tell RQ, they've already ditched C-side. If it goes there, it's going to be a retake.
Oh, just gonna have to be very careful though. Don't want to lose your hit too early. Setting up for that retake now. Paint shells, trying to hold that back. The team trying to push back up front. But at the same time, Blaze King on this big lurk, very, very troublesome.
Dapat info sih harusnya.
RRQ trying to be aware of every little trap, every little trick in
Nah.
Now he's been spotted.
Aduh.
You recognize that there's
Nggak bisa kemana-mana Koko Blaze
So a
King.
bit of a trade from Lightning Fast. Now LB Moore trying to hold the off.
Oh, nice.
He's managing to get
nice.
down. A bit of a double.
Kok jadi
Lightning
ke situ?
Fast fights back with a classic. Back to a 2-on-2, but 10 seconds remaining. They've got to go in fast. Spike now getting planted. Jemkin right up on top. Spots the angles, catches Lightning Fast on the swing. Benkai has to do it all.
1v2.
2v1. You just go for the
Here's the
simple
footstep.
double.
Kalah tembak.
You know what? RRQ looks like they want to stabilize in this first half. A 5-7
Lu dukung
scoreline.
siapa
Not
sih?
bad at all on that
Hah?
defensive
Gitu
side.
dari tadi.
That's a great
Lu
way
dukung
to
siapa?
finish off 2G.
Dukungnya RRQ tapi kok
Yang menang.
Iya, kayaknya RRQ bagus aja.
Gua kira dukung yang menang.
Enggak, RRQ tapi kok lu enggak gitu loh. Presentasinya adalah kan pendukung Indo Pride. Cuman melihat GE belum pernah menang.
Yeah, honestly, he was
Bagus
actually,
aja
I think, going
ngeliatnya.
for the spray down against
Aman
Lightning
ler,
Fast.
aman
He
ler.
saw the Omen
Ler,
close,
aman
but
ler.
does get, the stabilization on
Ler,
that
aman
spray,
ler.
gets the spray control, gets a long range headshot through the box.
Anjing, masuk internasional tuh aman ler, aman ler.
Still no armor on Xfero, but you know what?
Bang.
He's living life on the edge. He says one shot is all it takes.
By all means, though, I mean, Global Esports had the right ideas again. They were very aware of his positioning. So coming back into it, just needing to try to perhaps play around the map a little. We're just investing the showstopper really early on, though.
Yeah, but
Lembar,
this,
lembar.
that blast pack slows it down, and there's some of the shadows
nice.
back up as well. I mean, this side is all flooded, and it's defended
Gila,
by
gila.
Elmore and crew.
Wah, kena
Just
Ben guys.
watching everything. Now swinging up against
Oh,
Ben Kai,
nice, nice, nice,
completely
RRQ, nice,
overwhelmed the
nice.
showstopper as well.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Baru RRQ ini udah.
Their 5th win. It is a 5-7 first half.
So
Nah, ini
RRQ,
RRQ.
they don't challenge Rubble
Nah,
much at
RRQ
all
dah
in
nih,
that last
attacking
round
nih,
and a
yuk.
half.
Ah.
Then they go for the double push out of C, but they can do that because the Omen still has from the shadow. So then originally they're thinking, okay, if we get no contact,
Ntar lagi
we
juga
play
belok
far
lagi.
forward,
Nggak,
the
ada
showstopper is still available. But you hear the showstopper, immediately you launch it.
Kalau yang
Kalau
belum asli
kalau
ya,
gini nih,
The second
kalau yang
blast
belum
back
asli
Kalau gini
Peprex
nggak
ya.
masalah
slows
pembelok
things
ini.
down. Everyone on the side of
Kalau
RRQ,
Peprex
their
nggak bisa belok
process
ya.
to be trained forward, and they're able to get to a
Ini
score
dua-duanya ada
they
indonya.
don't mind.
Iya.
Jadi bisa ngeles.
Benar, benar. Indo Pride, Indo Pride.
Very, very much favorable.
Indo
As
Pride.
swaps on over to the attack where they perhaps
Karena
might
bukan
be able to
Indonesia,
pace
Indo
a
Pride,
little bit
guys.
better. So what I would
Indo
want to
Pride,
see
guys.
from Global Esports is some more active moments on their defensive side. Because what we've seen so far, RRQ just very much so reacting to it, but then towards the end,
Saya
they
sudah
start to
punya
get
dong.
some good reads
Saya
on
sudah
how Global
punya
Esports
itu.
moves.
Riot Gun
For
Body.
sure. I would love to see Global Esports get just as proactive, if not more,
Bisa dapat
on
tuh.
this defensive side
Iya
as well.
dong.
Xfero's oftentimes left on an island for that lurk, for that
Saya sudah
information
punya
in
Riot
between
Gun
B and
Body.
A main. So if you're able to target him, if you're able to take him out fast, or at least push him out of his comfort
iya.
zone, that's going to be good news. But let's say, an operator comes out, an outlaw comes out, something like that. We've seen
Kapan
Xfero
dapatnya?
shots. He could be
Hah?
racking up the frags on the scoreboard real quick.
Dapatnya kapan?
Udah lama.
So still both
Waktu
teams
zamannya masih
needing
di
to find
RRQ.
these rounds, and it all starts once
Punya lo apa punya
again
cewek lu?
with the pistol.
Itu kan punya gua, tapi gua kasih ke cewek gua itunya.
Okay,
Riot
so
Gun Body
toxic
aja.
screen for B and C, just ditching Rubble control entirely. You're just
Masuknya kayak di cewek
looking
gua.
to fight this from the get-go. You want to flood it.
Riot
you
Gun
wanna fill
Body,
it,
saya
and
sudah
just
punya Riot Gun
hold
Body.
onto it. That's the plan from Global Esports.
Tapi kalau boleh satu lagi,
You got the paint shells.
Opa Riot, saya mau dong buka ID saya.
Russ tossing in for info. Instantly spotted out though, so now they're gonna have to be very cautious.
Nah ini dia
Look
RRQ
at the
nih.
movements. Actually, RRQ coming in to take
Ayolah.
that pillar.
Just going to be that quick clear. Doesn't get tagged, so they might think that this is empty, but surely they're just vying for information on the util.
Wait, triple peek?
But flips, he hears the footsteps, he's looking for one.
Waduh.
No! He gets distracted by too much noise, and now you know that there's multiple people. You have to go see, but everything's set up here. Killjoy and Viper.
Really quick. Benkai,
Wah, ya
very
Benkai.
aware of this, just backs up completely. They know they have the numbers advantage, so trying to set up for the retake perhaps instead. Dark cover just to
Yang
block
beli
out the
apa
exits.
klasik
Waiting for the spike
yang
plant.
2 tempe sama 1 armor cuma ini raya.
That RRQ can do is go
How
for that
long can
lure.
they wait for Will?
Wow.
Benkai is watching the exits. He picks up a quick double. 2G
Kurang.
Dua tempe sama apa?
Satu
2 tempe sama 1 armor.
armor.
Far too long. The whole trio of global esports peaks out at the same time.
Yeah, I mean it's a rough spot.
Tapi Rayak udah bisa main
Just
Vandal kan,
realize
udah bagus.
everything's set up there, and you know, okay, backup's probably arrived. We gotta go for the lurk. But since you know
Enggak
you
cuma
can
itu
push
doang.
even deeper, trying to pinch them into water.
Ya, karena dia udah menang.
Overall, I mean, listen, you're making do with what you got, but they just don't
Aduh,
clear this
nggak
corner
ngecek tuh.
fast enough. And Bankai's able to get a crucial double kill. And after that, it's like, oh yeah, remember we were still waiting for Xfero? That lurk comes in just in time.
Fantastic, and this is a global esports that has now won both pistols on this map.
Nature is healing.
Tremendous improvement, exactly.
GE's winning pistols again. DRX is back on top. I mean, APAC is healing. Pacific is healing.
All it took was just a bit of time off, I
Kok gua nggak
suppose,
bisa nyangkutin
from
di situ ya?
kickoffs.
All it
One way
took
situ ya?
was Benji Fishy yelling at Monyet, and then everything corrected
Kan ada
itself.
hijau-hijaunya kalau lu lihat.
And also just
Kayak
a lot
terlalu
of
atas
coffee
dikit gitu loh,
pouches and
Pan.
paper thin inside of lifts. But anyway, Poison Cloud back up on top
Oh,
now.
skill issue.
Global esports fighting some blank
Anjing.
shots, able to take down
Masih aja
GG.
sih kunci.
Snake bites being drawn out. Still one in the chamber though.
It's just tough.
Habis ini fraktur balik.
To continue to dive through this.
Aduh.
Ada
juga
fraktur
balik.
lagi.
Gets a little kill.
Ada fraktur lagi. Map
Oh,
balik.
juga balik.
Now, Patsinito,
Ya, ya.
you knew that you had already kind of
Fraktur
hedged
balik
your bets
ganti
there
apa?
after you saw that first snake bite come in, so they're just trying to use
Apa
the
ya yang
turret's
masuk
shield
itu
to
ya?
cross in.
Nah,
Kemarin tuh yang ku tahu tuh fraktur Heaven, satunya apa lagi? Ku lupa.
Lah, yang diganti apa dong?
Yang ganti Lord Breeze,
Asen
Ice Cube
keluar.
sama Asen.
Alhamdulillah.
Asen keluar, Asen keluar.
Aduh.
Asen keluar.
Asen keluar.
Asen apa? Breeze?
Breeze iya.
Asen Breeze, Asen Breeze Ice Walk.
Lah,
Ya, kamat.
enak.
RQ without any
Yang masuk
Banyak
Fracture,
amat.
plans.
Heaven sama apa?
Might be able to take advantage of the
Gak tahu antara Pro atau apa gitu lupa.
There's a pretty big round deficit right now.
Yeah, look at the setup from Global Esports.
Sisa
on
Pearl
the
doang,
side,
anjing kan
right?
3 doang
If
yang
you are
hilang.
to go in there without the paint shells,
Ya, berarti
you're
udah.
gonna be
Tuh.
taking a lot of
Oh, ada
damage
map
and
baru
also
kali.
gonna be wasting a lot of time.
Oh, nice,
Oke.
lebih more.
Be clear. Actually going through
Jakarta
the door,
katanya.
Benkai tries to peek out.
Komen
Waduh.
asal Jakarta.
Does not have the range of the
Waduh,
Spectre.
teleport temennya.
Okay, so you just got a
Masih
kill
aja
on
dibahas
me. You
itu.
told them that you're trying to pressure the middle of the map. I would love to see
Loh,
RRQ try to
ada
get a
Indonesia,
reaction
coy.
out of the A side as well. Just something else to see what the reaction
Hey, nggak kena.
was from Global Esports.
Blitz is trying to watch for that angle. Baited out a bit of a smoke from lightning fast.
Yeah, but I love that they push into this because you know that Omen was far out, right? He wasn't by Rubble. He was already on his way back and out. So you got to imagine that this one way is just to buy time.
Kalau
It's
nggak
good
kena,
clear for
belum
Prowler
berarti
as well.
nyalain.
What RQ has to watch out for now, though, is
Paranoia.
also the little door.
Yeah, it's a setup here. It could be a trap setup for Blaze King, and they don't like what they're sniffing. They're just drawing attention. They know what they've done to Global Esports. They know they've put the pressure down.
Nggak ada timing
Yeah,
di
the
sini.
nanoswarms, that's my big concern.
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, you have your paint shells. RQ, they generally have thrown it far in
Oh,
whenever they
sini
need
dimasukin
to.
rame.
But it goes a little too far
Oh,
deep. He lands right onto the first
waduh,
set.
Jamkin,
15
dati
seconds
Jamkin.
left.
That's going to take a little bit off the clock. Benkai trying
Oh,
to stall
nice.
as long as he possibly can, but unfortunately not quite enough.
Big kill from 2GE. As soon as you hear that turret, ready for it, doesn't want to stop the plan.
Great TP up on
Tuh,
top.
dengan
A
Rifty
couple
lucu.
of wall banks trying to go through, but unfortunately...
Oh,
Beneran lucu.
Just
Nah,
slices
baru
aim
ngomong.
all to the left.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't know he hit the first
Beneran
one, but
lucu
he
kalau
did,
main
and he lands the
Rifty.
second as well. That's the Guardian for you.
That's how
Males
he
banget sih
checks.
anjir di wallbang
Okay.
gitu anjir.
RQ though, still
Paranoia
relatively
keluar.
healthy.
Lawan,
Four guns
lawan.
like this
Waduh,
Lah,
nice
mati.
Zone
one.
cover sets up.
Wah, 3 orang loh.
Stays completely
Oh, Blaze
shrouded
King?
in high
Dari
back.
Blaze King situ?
Blaze King continuing to try to fire through, but
Tapi nggak
unfortunately
bisa
the
sih.
timer
Mati
is
sama
ticking and
main
he's
sih,
running
bom.
out of time. It's gonna be RRQ walking away.
Nice, nice,
Don't
RRQ,
look at
nice.
the explosions. We've got
FIFA
this.
RRQ.
Yeah, everyone gets out safely as well, like you said. Blaze King just going to die to the spike without too much weaponry in his hand. Going to get that third round of the second half.
GE tim apaan bang? RRQ punya lemon.
Wah. Anjing, zamannya Dota.
Tapi kalah sama tim papan bawah. Wah.
that's it. I mean, this is a really tricky round that I think like you mentioned at the start of this matchup, right? RRQ
MPL lagi panas, bro.
MPL kalah sama siapa?
King Epos is back.
We were
Emang
very
ya?
worried that those nano
King
swarms would not allow
Epos
them to get
menang
started.
dari King Onyx sama
Paintshell's clearing at
apa
least the
kemarin
deeper
aku
one.
lupa.
That was a deal breaker.
Menang kok lawan Onyx gitu.
Evos ada siapa sekarang?
Iya.
Gue nggak ikutin lagi anjing maksud.
Brans.
Balik lagi ya.
Kalah sama kemarin itu RRQ kalah sama ini. Onyx sorry. Albertio ya Onyx. Onyx kalah sama ini. McLaren lu warna apa bos? Anjir.
Not too bad.
Kalah sama Nolan.
Even though he has
Denger Evos mau bikin Valorant.
his position known.
Alah, siapa yang main Just No Limit?
The unfortunate part, right? If during that chaos,
Just No Limit, Aura, Elmimor, Elmimor. Siapa namanya? Elmimor sih ini. Siapa namanya? Yang itu ya?
Global Esports is able to reset their default. You can see on the minimap, you see Russ
Yang
rejoin towards
kecil
the
siapa
east
namanya?
side. They still
Wan.
haven't pushed the alarm bot. They're nowhere near C right now.
Lumimer. Siapa Luminer?
RQ. Oh, they're just going in for a bit of a gamble now into the A site because
Oh, nice.
of that Will.
Aduh.
Still though winning on some of these firefights
But B is
because
clear.
Lightning Fast doesn't have the paranoia any longer.
Mantap.
So B is clear. They will be able to transition over, get the spike down. Xfero with the timing will be able to catch a lot of these players.
Let's
Benkai, first of all,
Nice.
it's gonna be Russ.
Bisa. GE pegangan GE ya. Udahlah. Cukup dia tagging GE ya. Diajarin sama Erkin cara buat nge-tag.
During all of that, they still leave their options open. Whenever you watch Lotus, the teams that are able to get enough of the rounds in attack are always going to be the ones that always leave one more chance open, right? It's can you make one more rotation? You know, if we're going to A in the last 40 seconds, do we have B cleared
Kayaknya
when it
enak
comes to
balikan
the
si
20-second
Rendang.
mark? Things like that. Or do you have the C revolving door cleared by the 20-second
Owen,
mark?
berhenti lah, nggak usah mulai.
Owen.
Coba
Jangan si rada jadul
nggak
terus
usah
bosku.
mulai.
That's another thing.
Gak usah mulai lah, Cok.
Getting the right calls, right ideas, right reads.
Masih nggak bisa move on aku dari sensi tinggi itu.
Just marking out some of these spots. Benkai will be
Enak
able
buat
to start
masuk
things
ke
off
entry
with
dulu.
the Marshall shot. Now smoke
3
out,
lari.
though. Gonna have to run back around.
Semalam gua main sama Yokai lo nggak ada sih Mir. Coba ada gua ajak Mir.
Siapa ya oke?
Jeez, I mean, no one was covering, but Elmimor
Siapa ya
killed
oke?
over himself.
Iron Senpai.
They have all rifles and they
Hah?
feeling pretty
Iron
okay.
Senpai.
At the same time, you got Xfair on a bit of a
Iron
in case
siapa?
someone does decide to pull
Gua nggak tahu Iron
through
Senpai.
the doors. This time it's
Enggak.
not happening just yet. Jemkin
Nice.
marching stairs. A bit of a skewer for 2
Iron
headshots.
Sen.
Siapa woi?
Looking to tie things up.
Siapa itu?
That's huge. That's a huge double kill.
Siapa?
because that catches Jemkin
Itu
right
loh,
up in the ult cycle
yang
as well. So lockdown
YouTuber
and
ini loh,
showstopper
YouTuber
both 2 points
Valorant.
away, which makes that Nightfall investment against the opponent's weak round quite
Nggak
worth
kenal.
it.
Yang biasa ngasih aksesoris.
Fast reactions from Elmimor. Seems like RQ also perhaps needing a little
Yang
bit
Sage
of
jelek itu bukan sih?
coming in.
Iya,
Yang PP Sage jelek.
That timeout from GE.
Sage apa? Sage pemuja sesat itu kan?
Iya.
Oh, iya benar.
Kenapa emang Ji?
Iya nggak apa-apa. Ada malam mampir sama dia.
And then now they just go for that rush with the Nightfall.
Kurang orang.
Dia ranknya apa?
Diamond.
Kirain Iron. Kata Iron Senpai.
Dari Iron ke Diamond sendiri solo.
We'll see what the adjustment is here from GE. Now, if you're RRQ, I think you've maybe checked for a trap play on C again, right? Is it a fast push out of C, or could it be the trap from the revolving door with the paranoia? That's something that we still haven't seen trap play or push out from C. That has really happened from GE. So if you're imagining a big change, that's something that RRQ has to be ready for.
I'm not sure if it's going to be a trap play exactly just yet. It's
the op.
It's the op on Polvi.
Yeah, it's not. They're not going to send the showstopper, but I think RRQ probably waiting for the showstopper. Yeah, looking at their positions, they're waiting for a crossfire. They're not going to quite see it just yet.
Oh, and Blaze King with the Odin as well. Trying to play off of a little bit of time. RQ at the very least pretty darn aware of it, tossing out the haunt just to check.
And this fast push into rubble, this is important for RQ because you're wondering, why are you trying to deny us so much rubble control of the Odin? Right? Why this round? Why when we see that someone clears the on right away, just lands it on flips?
Koko.
Locked into.
I think Flips heard the
Koko,
reload, so he
blessing.
thought he had time to creep all the way around, but Blaze King just fires right back.
At that exact spot. Very unlucky timing.
Yeah,
Just
the fake on the
micro
reload
timing.
again. Finishes it off, 100 rounds still to go.
It's the last belt as well, so now he's going to be a little bit more careful of it. Oh, makes use of Russ's haunt. Goes in for the clear wallbang shot.
Aduh.
The pig missed. It's going to be down to Xpero. 5 HP. His team's completely gone.
And so is Xfero. I mean, a clean round. I mean, this all falls apart when Flips dies, right? And you can't blame him, but you can absolutely
Sudah
give credit to
berpemandang
Blaze King.
Odin ya.
Whenever you see, listen, people say that the Odins get lucky, but the real Odin users, they really play with your mind, right? They make you think that they're done spamming. They make you think that you're only spamming one angle.
And then they swap to another angle.
Yeah, they keep it going. They have their own system, man.
It's a play of positioning is what it is. And I think, you know, it's not just the Odin as well.
Oh, a little Odin ceremony. We haven't seen that. Okay, I like it.
It's also the fact that, you know, there was that threat of the showstopper. There was a little bit of movement, the smoke out from Lightning Fast, a bit of pressure just to funnel RRQ into that A site. So game plan starting to work out a little bit for GE.
GE, do they read this? They do. They recognize that the smoke's a little too deep on B, and they think that it might be a trap onto C mount. It's a good reaction, and the Holy's good.
Great opener, the Dragon Roars. RRQ's gonna have to recalibrate their strategies. Elmore continuing to go in by himself though, and he's got the spike. I'm a little bit nervous, Will. All right, now he's away.
All right, spike given over. No one quite in range to hear that drop just yet. But Elmore.
Oh, the
his barrel shows and he has no idea. Oh,
slight whiff with the flick, but not too bad. But because of all of this, Elmore calls that the side is clear. Spike goes down.
And the lockdown is clear. Now Showstopper on the other side, so RRQ, they have to still stop this way early. Whoa! Oh my gosh, right as the paranoia hits, it's a good reaction.
Goes back in for a little bit more, just a little bit of greed, and it's not too good. Showstopper comes out from Polvi, and
shut down after the alarm bot from 2GE.
So quick.
Perched up on top of that box once again, so Blaze King, he's wary of it. They're trying to clear him out, but they're all hiding right around that smoke and the pillar.
He's got to be very careful with his movements. Does it not have the mobility with that Odin? Swaps over onto the Vandal now, so being able to push it along with the swap, but he doesn't even need it.
Nice.
Russ tries to stick the defuse. The timer is still ticking away, and Flips is trying to play along with the time.
Nice.
So even though Blaze King drops, Global Esports, it's going to be RRQ with the clutch round.
Man, I'm actually surprised. I want to give a lot of credit to Global Esports there because by popping the Nano Swarm early while the smoke was still up, RRQ was trying to fake out that they were all outside on Mound, right? It's a Mound plant. Hey, we've already left it empty after we got that kill on the Showstopper. Don't worry about the site. It was kind of a trap play setup. And Blaze King still checking after he gets the first kill into 2G. They're still wary of Xfero. I mean, really, really heads up. But at the end of the day, the post-plant utility, I mean, the timing, the lockdown had been used as well. So RRQ able to catch up one round again.
And what a crucial kill from 2GE as well. I mean, this guy just gets subbed in, does not miss a beat.
We heard Coach Ewok talk about it during the timeout episode. 2GE's always there, waiting for the chance. He knows how hard it can be to be that sixth man.
And he always stays ready as well. So very, very comfortable adjustments from RRQ. They are still keeping this match relatively competitive. Benkai now this time the one with the Odin. The Nightfall getting sent out. Still catching RRQ. They have not been able to make it past the A site.
Oh, this had to have been a minimap read though as well, right? From that Nightfall. Somehow is able to get the absolute shots through.
I think there was a ping on the map for him as well. So now back into the same spot. Paranoia just to flush him back. Hops over just in time. Blaze King holding Baby Door at the ready. So many angles being marked and covered by Global Esports. I don't know how RRQ can make it through this.
I mean, they have to purely do it through frags, right? And it can only be B-side, and Global Esports is fairly aware of this because of the control they have across the entire map. I mean, look at Povi's position. He hasn't moved an inch. Mound is absolutely shut off. A tree is absolutely shut off. You know that they're still trapped in between B and A.
This is truly just the domain expansion of Global Esports right now. They are trapping them inside their realm. RRQ do not have any routes. Slowly finding back in that lead. And this is all after Coach Spin's timeout in round 18 as well.
Yeah, it's just a cold hard save, right? Doesn't matter about the creds or not. The chances just too far against us. RRQ making the choice to give 11 to GE. Now, yes, again, it looked very unlikely to pick up that round after the first 2 kills. But they're going to have to figure out something else here. This Odin, they've got to find, they've got to find an answer for this Odin. Because creeping in, yeah, I mean, it can work. Sure, you could consider and say, I misread the timing. But the thing is if you're going to creep in, either, just holding rubble or making sure that there's some other utility to draw it out, maybe opening the door first to make sure that he has to shoot the switch, something like that. And then just checking. That also helps check. Is the Odin still there?
Creeping in does feel a little bit too risky for my liking right now, Will.
I mean, what else are you going to do, though, right? I mean,
the utility.
Into tree? You can't clear that with the Odin spamming the entire time. If you have to get up to the switch first, and if they're going to be
baru balik boker bro, kok 12-9.
You gotta do something else. I mean, yeah, if you get to the switch, sure, I'm all for it, right? Send the Prowler and things like that. But if they're expending utility first to get into rubble, right? It's just this chicken and the egg question, a catch-22, so to speak, for RRQ. Sometimes contact is the answer, but right now it's going to be a heavier push. They want to basically draw out a little bit of attention elsewhere to see if they can then pressure onto A site.
We'll see if it is possible, but for now, it's really, really tough. We've got Polvi, Russ, Lightning Fast back in for C Mount. Sets up the turret, but it instantly gets dismissed.
Indo, kalau lawan Indo itu menyala abangku anjir. Kalau lawan orang luar.
So you're hearing the Odin. It's just a fast hit. Oh,
straight into B!
That's a huge kill.
Jemkin with a big dive.
Elmimore as well. I mean, they're ready for this door opening as well. And this shuts down a lot of the options that GE had.
Unbelievable. Great adjustments coming in from RRQ right now, and they already have the site. Nightfall even invested just to further hold Global Esports back. Benkai now slowly rethinking his options. I really want to approach Heaven?
No, I think you save if you're GE, right? Because here's the thing. I mean, the chances right now, no matter how easy B-side is to retake, with the Op and the Odin as well, and the positions you've already given over with the Nightfall, the chances are too slim. And you don't want to potentially give, let's say, Xfer a triple kill, let him maybe get close back to his lockdown, anything like that before the half ends. So while you have the lead, you got kind of a gimme in that previous round after the initial kills. You give one back to RRQ, you reset.
The question is, how will Global Esports come back into this next round now? B showing some slightly weaker spots. For the longest time now, Blaze King has set up his toxic screen from B to A, sometimes B to C. Is he going to have some more reinforcements on the side this time?
We'll have to see as Jemkin. I mean, that was a sick shot. So was Elmimore as well, but flying in and getting that pick onto Heaven, definitely a bit of a prediction.
I guess just leaving Russ in for B and then maybe setting up for a bit of a retake?
I mean, I thought, maybe it was going to be a heavier stack onto B and C, go for a full retake onto A, but this time it's forward positioning on the Killjoy util. And this is a lot of setup for Blaze King, right? You're thinking, okay, Odin's here again, no biggie. The door is open.
This is a spot that Elmimore is very comfortable with, so he flushes him out. The Prowler, the shot from Polvi and Russ to fire back, though.
It's multi-layered. It's not just one guy. GE, they don't play simple Valorant.
Ooh, sidestep with the Prowler out now, switch.
Huge movement.
Xpharaoh can't quite catch up. Down to the last two.
Oh, and you saw one as well on
Bahaya.
C-Down.
Very potentially map point for Global
Waduh,
Esports now.
jeder nih.
GE wanting to take matters into his
Match
own
point
hands,
nih.
but dropping the Polvi. It's all down to the IGL flips.
Yeah, and while you have the pit, you know, you've got that lockdown, you got an Odin on the other side. It's a tough choice to make. But at the end of the day, I mean, do you really want to give up that map point?
Got no choice.
I mean, I'm not going to blame him if he sends it, right? It looks nigh impossible either way.
30 seconds
But if
left.
you have some mind games with it,
Poison's off.
Best thing that he can do, right? I mean, plant the spike, maybe play around tree, but then you gotta be prepared for this entire squad. I don't think you want to invest in Viper's Pit yet, but maybe now.
Yeah, lockdown's gone, Odin's gone. Sure, Odin gets picked up, but no lockdown.
Welcome to my world. Benkai's. No, it's Polvi who's firing off. No, he walks into it. He walks into it.
I mean, this is just well played by GE, right? So he thinks the Odin spamming this angle, I can do a quick shoulder peek. I like the idea because what you're thinking is with the Odin spamming, the other guy's probably going to try to hold the defuse. So Flips, that's his process of elimination, but GE's one step ahead. They say, I'll spam it, you creep in because he can't hold this close angle if I'm spamming.
Exactly one of those like
21-21. Aman.
moments. It's just I can feel the frustrations from Flip's side now. So
Ayolah RRQ lah. Bobola tuh di Shanghai. Kamu sama ini. Stance.
It's going to be map point for Global Esports.
Yeah, look at the way he was holding that too. I think Flips kind of misread that angle. I thought he thought maybe he was shooting straight into the into tree, but Polvi was already holding it at an angle, cutting that corner. So all in all, well played by GE. A little bit of panic from Flips as well.
Good effort though, but nonetheless, this is now an opportunity for Global Esports to steal this map win away. This was RRQ's map pick. They don't do well on this. We're going next to Global Esports.
Kalau jauh dekat sama aja nggak sih Pan? TP-nya Pan kedengerannya Pan?
Yeah, we can talk about Icebox when we get there, but compositionally, I think you have to favor GE just a slight bit. So we'll see if RRQ can take this to OT. They've never held the lead in this map.
Full set play to C. Just sending it down, lightning fast, able to do a bit of damage. Elmi more trades right back. Jemkin's already inside. A bit of Shroud of 7 to GE, but he's done it one too many times. Russ is aware. Jemkin trying to get the timing on the swing, waiting for his teammates to arrive at the same time, but Blaze King now sets up the Viper's Pit. He can no longer push up front. Russ peeks out at the right time as Jenkins tries to fall back. That's going to be the third kill for Russ. Elmi more now. The brand against the world, and he's going to have to fight his way out of this
Elmi nggak bisa ngapa-ngapain nampaknya.
Swings out is the crouch. Russ with the quad kill to close out the map. Global Esports, what an improvement.
I mean, listen, they've taken maps before, and they've looked better and better each time they've taken a map. But the
21 aman.
weaknesses that they showed in the previous two times against TRX and Talent, I think that's a lot of hope here for GE. You know, Blaze King had some pop-off moments. Benkai has been having much more impact. He's been very quiet so far in Stage 1. So overall, it's been a good map.
I think you can't talk about this unless you talk about the whole team. So let's let our analyst desk tell us exactly how they won.
Well, Spin did tease it earlier. It looks as though GE indeed, this restructure is doing wonders for them. They look so much better. They look so much more well coordinated. And I feel like this is a GE, this is the foundation they can build on going forward.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, I think this was a much better affair in terms of playing off of each other, playing for trades. No one was rarely getting caught out of position too much, I felt like.
Negara mana,
a really good job being that lurker, kind of getting in some cheeky positions, finding some value kills. And the biggest part of this is, you know, we talked about him before, the player we wanted to see step up, have a big pop.
Ini negaranya di mana?
And he did. He was huge for them, all over the map, doing a good job.
Labnya di mana? Offline-nya di mana?
Korea.
Just being a really difficult Viper to play around.
You know, we saw a lot of threats from the Odin from teams like Lee because of Zest, right? GE, not really one of those teams where you kind of expect it to happen. Sure, they've kind of used it in the past, but, you know, it's a kind of lukewarm reception. But this time, Blaze King, Benkai having kills through on tree with the Odin spams. very, very strong output here from Global Esports.
Well, I think it has something to do with Blaze King being all too familiar with the guys on the other side as well. I mean, let's not forget, Blaze King was up against his former teammates from that 2022 roster, I believe, that made it over to Champions Istanbul, right? Boom Esports that were there, and Blaze King was there, so he knows this guys very, very well. Benkai as well, because he has been around, the Southeast Asian scene for quite a while. So I feel like that confidence, coupled with whatever GE has been workshopping this entire time, just led to this, this first map victory.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, pop-off games again, Blaze King, but also Polvi having a lot of impact with his operator, doing a good job kind of breaking some space, out-dueling Jemkin, which is not something you may have thought coming into today's match that he was going to be the better Raze on Lotus, but Jemkin was really struggling here. He had a couple, banger opener kills, but other than that, he was relatively shut down. Polvi was winning a lot of those duels against him as well, so it really made things difficult for RRQ to get any momentum.
Yeah, again, it's just Global Esports finding that nice little tune or sync as they try to create these plays. There was a lot of points where we saw, I think, RRQ trying to go for those heroics. One of the biggest takeaway players here is Moore. He was putting himself on the line to get these multi-kills. Sure, there's some rounds where it does. You see RRQ getting trying to get back
Gua
on
gak ragu sih. Tapi yang kemarin Icebox bagus sih kan si RRQ.
Icebox ntar ini ngetral. Siapa?
Si Flip Jeder. Bani.
Iya.
Bani, oke Bani. Bani.
On the defender side, on Lotus, on C side, and then swung the corner.
Yang ini jangan sampai nol Bani, kita mau menang Bani.
Things like that, where it's like he gets that confidence and then he gets a little too far out of the rest of his team.
Emang sebelumnya nge-troll, Ber?
Selalu Icebox nge-troll.
They were trying to make hero plays and there wasn't any backup behind it. It's okay if you get a double frag and you feel like you've got a chance for the third. He had the tether.
Di map ini kalau Bani menyala, yang lainnya lagi ngedon.
To support him, so he just died for nothing essentially when he could have made that, potentially a trade or something like that, and that's part of the reasons that RRQ faltered here on Lotus.
There were a lot of rounds where an RRQ looked very overwhelmed, which is not something that you can usually say for a team that has gone, comfortably toe-to-toe with Gen G, for example, right? It just seemed like there were a lot of very unnecessary rounds wherein they were a bit confused, their attention wasn't exactly fully focused, and I'm not sure if it's because of the changes that have come in, very last minute for this team, or maybe it was just because they weren't used to this pace that GE was showing them.
Yeah, we were just talking about how it could be putting them in a spell, how differently Global Esports approached the start of this series. And seemingly like that, we saw RRQ try to do other things as well, where we saw Xfero put out the operator as well. It worked somehow a couple of
he had
kills.
That one flick.
The one, okay, that was just
that was pretty nasty, but the rest of it was.
But then everything else is like Global Esports knew exactly. Oh, if it whips, we flood him in. That opens up one part of the map, and then we're golden.
Yeah, I feel like, this is a new energy that GE has been showing, right? And I feel like, this is, going into Icebox. RRQ, by the way, their map pick was Lotus. Going into Icebox right now, I mentioned earlier, Paperthin, I'm not feeling too good having voted for RRQ, especially since we know that their Icebox is pretty strong. But GE, with this form, with this brand new, confidence that they have, and going into Icebox, I don't know.
Yeah, good luck. I mean, if Lightning Fast starts popping off on this map and
Exactly.
still Blaze King and Polvi are playing well, then forget it. I mean, that's such a difficult team to overtake. Yeah, RRQ, they look solid. It's pretty well coordinated. I mean, Jemkin seems pretty comfortable on the jet on this map, even though he's kind of more known for his Raze, but this is still going to be tough. This has to be now GE favored with the way that they've been playing so far today, going into their best map. Yeah, they're going to have to dig deep for RRQ.
Yeah, and again, one of the, I guess, imposing questions there is RRQ going to rely heavily once more on Jemkin here? Because, again, when they face against Team Secret, he was the one that, I think it was you that mentioned it, bailed him out a couple of rounds, especially on once they were in overtime.
Yeah, well, speaking of imposing questions, we have one for you guys, obviously. We do have our Guess and Gain segment right now. And I do believe we have some updates, by the way, on our board over here. The first big update that we have is, you will notice William over here in a brand new position. This is because we've carried over intel from the Korean broadcast, and he has D-ranked accordingly.
You know,
to be fair.
I was, talking with him yesterday. It's like, he finally beat me. You're in Diamond. And he says, no, they carried over my my guessing game on Korean, and now I'm in Gold. Really? And I was like,
you're way too happy for
I know.
You are way too happy. Meanwhile, Achilles and I we're just chill over here in Bronze. This is what we call the acceptance stage. So we're pretty happy over here, but our question for today is which team will get the more pistol kills in map 2? More pistol kills, by the way, so this means that it's not just the pistol rounds.
Okay.
Let's get out our boards here. I will promise to
just
write
the team, right?
my answer a little bigger.
I think you could vote for a tie. Apparently you could vote for a tie, but I don't know.
You
I don't think that's super likely.
Okay, let's see. Can I copy the answer over here of our audio? But well, no, I really.
Gila, laptopnya bagus banget tuh di tengah. Laptop apa tuh?
Gedein Ji, zoom Ji, zoom Ji.
Hell yeah.
Hah?
3, 2, 1.
Di zoom biar kelihatan.
Oh, aduh.
Man, I
Ya jangan ngezoomnya gimana kan dari sononya anjing.
You really gotta write a little
Di OBS lah.
Anyway,
nggak usah.
Thank you for the zoom in.
I need it, okay? In more ways than one.
Laptop
We have-
Acer Predator New
we have
Helios
Ethan with an RRQ.
Neo 16.
Yeah. No, because I'm picking against what I think is really gonna happen.
Right,
Yeah.
your meta.
Gila.
I think GE looks really good right now.
Let's go, let's go, let's go,
Even
let's
though
go.
this year the pistol rounds haven't been great, like that's kind of historically something they've been known for. So sure, let's go with RRQ. Yeah.
And Asarai going all in with
Yeah.
his bet.
Why not? You know, it's
No more explanation needed.
I've kind of given up already on thinking why. I just like whichever team I predict this day and during the mini games or the guessing games, I'm just gonna keep following it.
Well, I have G on here just because if they keep up the performance they had in that first map, I don't know. I mean, I think they will definitely get more pistol rounds. Putting this down right now
Bring me back
as
to Platinum,
we
please, G.
prepare. As we prepare for map number 2, we're heading into Icebox, and if we remember G on here, they look very, very comfortable with some very memorable performances. I think, again, with this renewed energy here, we could end up with the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, if they can keep that same level of like rotational kind of
Keren banget, cuy,
composure
di sana,
and
cuy.
getting everybody in the right places at the right time, and Benkai continues to be a nuisance. All these things put together really threw RRQ for a loop. Blaze King just being that player that we know he's capable of being. I have a hard time imagining with Lightning Fast as well, getting that upgrade, that this is going to be easy for RRQ. Can they do it? Yes, but we're going to have to see a very different team than what we saw there on Lotus. They looked lost at times. They looked a little bit confused. I guess the good news is you don't have to worry about an Odin. There's that, usually.
Maybe?
Well, unless you play Harbor, then some teams will grab an Odin to, like, spam the Cove or something, but even then.
Perhaps. I don't want to count it out entirely just yet.
Who knows?
I mean, yeah, exactly. Who knows, right? But we will find out as we head into Icebox. We're about to get into Agent Select right now. Are we expecting any big changes, you think? I mean, G mentioned the restructuring. Does this mean also a brand new agent composition despite them performing very well?
Probably not. I think it's just more refining the tools that was already available for them. It's more of like how they approach things rather than changing up what they do. And I'm about to get slapped. No, it's the same thing.
No.
Yeah, okay.
You're good.
Okay, but one of the things I do want to add here, though, is I felt like when I was watching
Sama
the
ya.
RRQ match up against Team Secret, didn't really have too many
Enggak.
huge lurks and such.
Oh,
Not
dia
a lot
bos
of
AGG.
mid-controls, I'd say, compared to global esports that we saw Polvi, we saw Benkai really wanting to challenge
Lightning Fast di
control in
CBS.
spaces such as Kitchen. So that's
CBS
definitely
tuh
something to watch out for here.
Cuma bisa kage.
He goes under tube a lot. to get
Cuma
some of these
bisa
frags, those big
kage,
impact
anjing.
frags, onto the B side on retakes and stuff like that. So yeah, this is going to be tough. I mean, RRQ's going to have to really dig deep here, really come up with a good game plan, because when you're playing that Gecko, sometimes you get so tunneled in on those executes and those retakes.
Oh, I don't know. G, you're feeling good. You can see Blazing over there waving, blowing some affectionate kisses over there to his friends over on RRQ. We're going to see, though, can
Defend
G
lagi ya,
close
RRQ
this
aja.
out? Can RRQ bounce back? Big questions over here as we toss it on back to William and Quack.
That's right. Thank you very much, Mika, Paperthin, and Asarai.
Humble
This is
defense,
the Global
okay.
Esports that is still looking for their first win. Very close to it right now, but you never quite know. I think Paperthin has a good point, because Flips didn't get 0 kills on this map last week, Will.
Yeah, that's true. Can he make the same magic happen again today? It will require Omimor to also get 30 kills. We should remember that. So we'll see if it happens. But I love what the Jess pointed out about map control overall. GE seems to be very fluid on this Icebox. Sure, RRQ, they've been been comfortable to pick it, but also compositionally. That Sage creates a lot of problems for these util dump type compositions. You know, it's not as hard as the KO Gecko here for RRQ, it's the Silva, but it's still going to be a lot of front-loaded util, so curious to see what the adjustments are.
That's right, they got to watch out for that Sage, especially with how flowy lightning fast can get on it sometimes.
And look, already mid-control. Right off the bat on the pistol here from Benkai. He's watching Tube, he gets through past the turret. So now RRQ, because of that Poison Cloud, they have to have someone kitchen to make sure they don't get caught off guard.
Hence Xfero marking that area, but at the same time, we're worried about Jemkin for the time being, playing up around yellow.
Reagennya gue lebih suka GE sih sebenarnya.
Apa?
Flips able to catch the first point of contact.
Dari pick reagennya lebih suka GE.
Kenapa tuh, Pan?
Oh, spotted the pistol.
Not able to land the first shot, but I love the back out from Jemkin, right? Just wait for support.
Sage buat pospan enak. Nah itu.
Yeah, not expanding the dash just yet either. Now he goes in.
Jadi Gecko nggak usah maju-maju. Tinggal taruh dong.
Diffuse juga enak.
Iya makanya.
Look at this, Global Esports flooding the site now. 2GE will be able to fight back with his classic. Benkai repositioning out back onto his top.
Icebox bawa Sage, oke berarti
is
ya.
the one who is sneaking up behind yellow.
Iya.
Jemkin still has a lot of work cut out for him, and only 6 rounds in the chamber. It's going to be tough for him because he doesn't quite know that positioning.
Really good patience from Benkai, right? Despite being down in numbers, Benkai is just going to wait until the plant happens. It's a pistol round, you've got a Sage, you know that you can force the plant. Povey even
apa benar kalau apa namanya kalau Sentinel tuh boleh paling sering buat ngeflank.
Just waits for the opportune moment.
Nge-lurking sendiri gitu.
Secara dari roll ya, cuma kalau Sentinel dulu lihat siapa.
At the end of the day, it's that mid control, and this is not something we say.
Kalau Sentinel kayak Sage ya. Jangan dong.
Iya, Killjoy, Cyper gitu-gitu.
Ya, Killjoy, Hyper Chamber.
RRQ now has to make sure that they're checking early on down that tube.
Kecuali Sage yang harus dekat kan.
Buat plan. Iya.
Even a delayed push, delayed peek works out so well. It is still just.
Berarti kan buat cari informasi dari tempat lain kan, mesti ngeflank itu kan. Woi, gila anjing RRQ. Nice, belum jeder. Ayo Pak ini.
You know, I just want to let the desk know if you thought
kasih tahu kalau kamu udah buka telur, Bani. Nice banget, Bani. Oh, nice.
Aduh.
Nice. Nice, Iko.
Waduh, Thrifty.
Nice, Thrifty. Gila. Gila, ini dia RRQ, guys.
Holy.
Pegangan ke pegangan.
Because they were playing some of these close-ranged positions, close-range tools, the wide swing.
Anjing bisa. Tapi seenak itu sih klasik Pan lawan-lawan kayak. Yo, RRQ klasik, bro.
Market your stuff, man. You got the opportunity. He knows that we're gonna pick out that audio clip.
All right, Flips no longer 0 kills on this map.
Tapi seenak itu klasik kalau lawan yang kayak Bulldog gitu-gitu.
Global Esports now off of such a loss, just kind of dazed and stunned, having to recalibrate the gauge. He's got the upgraded pistols. Blaze King will do a bit of damage to him.
Nggak dapet.
That's one Bulldog gone, a second rifle gone. What is going on?
I mean, we've seen this happen a lot, especially in Pacific. You know, thrifties for days. Trade it back and
Apakah
forth.
Thrifty?
But you do still have the rifles on the side of RRQ, so that Sage util not going to be as damaging. It's not going to be as impactful.
Very prepared to.
Thrifty, guys.
Listen, we've seen some crucial kills with peaks like that, but the timing, the way he peeks out of it is just a little bit too deep into the screen, so he's not able to get the quick jiggle. And the thing is RRQ had thrashed this round. But now, it doesn't seem like a good investment.
It's just a nightmare of a round, Will. You know, they're trying to deal with the spike plan, but everyone's peeking out one by one from RRQ. They're doing it solo. And that's just not what you want to have. I mean, the same thing, they had the idea to kind of go in for a bit of a trade up around top boiler, but it just didn't work out. Blaze King was prepared to take that shot.
Yeah, and I do like the save decision here from Jemkin, right? You don't want to give too many upgrades. They're coming for it because they have nothing to lose from GE. If they get the kill, it's another upgrade. It's more credits saved up.
Oh, yeah. Lightning Fast was like from ear to ear on his player cam. Oh no, he doesn't even keep the rifle.
That's unfortunate. Now RRQ, because they were the ones who picked up the upgrades in that last round, it's not as bad, right? They'll still be able to try to make do with what they have. It's going to be a broken round with one person not having buys. This is just excellent use peeking around the spike there from Blaze King.
One incredible flick as well. I mean, that's exactly it. Look at every one of these kills. It's all RRQ peeking out one by one. But you are absolutely right. So because they do get to keep their economy going for a little bit more, and Jemkin now with the operator swings out.
This is Jemkin, bro.
Tries to go in for the vertical flick, but not quite happening just yet. Russ pushing up front along with the mosh pit too, able to keep one of the RQ players trapped.
Yeah, trusting in that op a little bit too much for RRQ. Pushes out, a bit of an overheat. You're going to hear all this info though.
Okay.
Another Killjoy.
Might be able to set up a bit of a flank.
Oh, nice.
Catches Lightning Fast
on
the back turn.
And this, by keeping control of mid, RRQ can now regroup as a 3-man. So I like the call, right? Even though you have a read that it's most likely a rotate back to A because of the last movement of the Sage, you're just going to wait. You're going to go for that retake. You have the numbers advantage.
No util on the side of Global Esports as well. RRQ is in a very good spot. Has the angle. Russ tries to take the initiative against them, but not quite able to deal with the operator. Polvi has no choice but to shoot his way out of this one. Goes in for a spray transfer, runs out of ammo. No, drops back down. Very easily heard. Jemkin trying to play it patient and safe. Oh, what a flick! Back onto the head. 2G has to clutch this out. This round, RRQ had the advantage. Oh, he sneaks up the top of the window. I can see you.
The Phantom lights up on top of the scoreboard. Fans have been waiting for games like these. And today he's answering back. Raised diffs on the first map, and an excellent clutch on the second.
Ridiculous.
This shot on Jemkin was absolutely nutty.
Just ready for it. Took a little bit of damage in second round, but they just shrug it right off, Will.
That's a huge blow to RRQ, both in-game and mentally as well.
Economy running dry now. Elmimore still taking pot shots against them, though. Penkai firing right back. They're
look at
going
these
for
trades.
duels.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. They're never letting, a death happen for no reason. I mean, Paperthin talked about it on the desk as well, but the fact that they are willing to trade, they're accepting that, yeah, we can have good reads for the start of the round. Obviously when we make a mid-round decision, it's about the reads. But afterwards, you have to be ready. And the immediate peek afterwards, I like it. Not having to invest the wall there. You have the weapons advantage.
Global Esports, they get to death ball in this round if they want to. Flip spots out the little elbow, though. Ooh. Thrash comes out. Flip's stuck in a bad position. Unfortunately, not quite able to escape.
That
was just a really unlucky one. Xfer now with the one and done. It's just not quite meant to be. Barrier comes up. Jemkin tries to swing around the side. What is that flick back and back? Tailwinds away into safety. Run around the max so he reloads. Back to a 2-on-2. Lightning Fast. Trying to sneak around the site to find a duel.
Now the spike's down though. They don't have it recovered yet.
Okay, that gives away, but what? Jemkin. Just a little bit of a peek.
Ayo beli Prime Vandal. Nah, kan menang kan sama Prime Vandalnya. Ayo beli Prime Vandal.
I mean, so far this is what everyone has been asking for from GE, right? It's more firepower.
Bagusan ini, gua tetap Chronami
kan. All the way from EMEA. It's Blaze King. Why was he picked up from challengers? Why was he always hailed as one of the stronger players in Indonesia?
Chronami bagus yang putih.
It's all coming together. I mean, Lightning Fast, Rush, sure, they've been alive for a long time.
Tetap Prelude number 1.
With some steady trades.
Gua ada Chronami.
Oh, he's going at
it.
I mean, GE, they haven't felt this confident all season.
It's just Indonesian Valorant stuff, but again, I mean, you're absolutely right.
Aduh, RRQ lagi dan lagi.
Is really showing in these rounds. At the same time, though, you can't really, you know, fault RRQ. Jemkin had some incredible frags.
I mean, listen, in terms of like 2v1s and clutches, unless it's teams usually like they're absolutely peaking one by one, things like that, it's generally props to the person who clutches. I mean, that previous round, sure, you know, it starts as an eco, so quite frankly, GE getting a little messier in the beginning part of the round. But at the end of the day, they get a little lax. They think that they are able to just swarm him with the numbers advantage in that 2v1 situation. I mean, Jemkin does everything he can to try to keep them in the game. Now that the op is out, we'll see how things work out. But RRQ, whenever they get this op, they tend to rely on it quite a bit to make their rotations, right? They just post up the operator, and then they wait about 10, 20 extra seconds.
Oh,
we'll see if that same thing happens.
2G is going to have to be wary.
Get out of my way.
There have been a lot of movements up around Nest for the past couple rounds now. So RRQ made the heavy investment, but guess what? Global Esports headed back into B. 2G completely backs off. Unfortunately sustains a bit of damage. That operator just still posted up. The rest of the team from RRQ now unfortunately not quite able to deal against this because Global Esports has already taken up so much space. The Thresh will connect. Flips wants to capitalize on his kill.
Yeah,
Does
but they're watching
out?
for
They're
it.
watching from Hut. And it's just such a good angle to cover from Lightning Fast. You even have the Viper's Pit up. Although there are some kills on the board now, Jemkin marking some of these angles. Lightning Fast with what an incredible swing. The pit's still up and Blaze King slipping in and out of it. Benkai watching up from the back now. Bit of a burst, but not quite connecting the
Kerasa
shot.
bantingannya.
Still though, timer running out. How do you deal with this Viper's Pit? Blaze King has snake bites for days. Toss the last one out.
He's trying to creep in. The reload hears it!
Yeah, reload.
The reload!
No time though.
But no time. Oh, Jemkin plays his heart out. Back-to-back rounds. But here's the other thing. I mean, GE, the real good reaction they had here was normally what they do a lot of times if it's a bit of a hard game. This is a wall off part of the site, and they'll dig deep into Snowman. This time, they wall off Snowman. See, they're going to fill the site. As soon as the wall gets broken, Polvi makes a judgment call to say, we got to fight for Snowman control back. He goes for it. He gets detained. He actually draws away the Thrash aggro. Lightning Fast covers him from the grades. The teamwork is just snappy today from GE.
Whether or not it's the mental coach,
Aduh,
or
lagi
just
sakit
the
ini.
amount of work that they've done, the amount of work that the coaches have done to adjust their calling the previous days, you know, Benkai being a little bit more communicative, it's all working out incredibly well for Global Esports today. Meanwhile, for RRQ, I mean, just tiny things, fractions of a second where someone peeks out a little bit too late or fires a little bit too late.
Real 2-0
Unfortunately,
kali.
even though Jemkin is topping the scoreboards, the rounds aren't going their way.
Jemkin surely wants to redeem his name a little bit as well after a very rough first map.
It's not quite happening just yet. Too many targets, too many variables, but at the very least, they've gathered some information.
Yeah, they gathered information, but they're not able to hold on to that area, right? And I think that's what we're really starting to see at the top level of Valorant these days is simply getting information. Passive information just is not enough. You have to have a reaction. You have to still maintain 50% control of the map. Right now, RRQ, they're getting pressed in. They're losing control bit by bit on both A site and B.
Information goes bad after a little while, and that's why they're investing utility just to clear and continue to try and regain control. 2G is in a pretty tricky spot, and unfortunately the high and low catches him down. Polvi, quick double to open up the B site. The rest of the squad has arrived. Look at the snakebite lineups as well. Elmimore unfortunately is forced to back out. Benkai now along with the turret, maybe not quite able to land a shot, but at the very least now very aware that there is a potential push from mid, but because it is a 2-on-4, RRQ has no choice but to save.
This is rough. This is very rough for RRQ. Meanwhile, very good for GE. Even that toxic screen that cuts across this B site, it actually leaves so small of a corner that it is really hard to try to peek out of that on that second floor. And like you said, because they're aware that some teams, especially RRQ, they've shown it before in this map as well, they'll try to still go for a jiggle out of that screen. They even have the snakebite lineup. I mean, the setups are very good for Polvi today as well. The confidence dash up onto yellow. But the toxic screen goes up right before it, so he's masked from the second floor. It all comes together for GE. And rifle picked up for Jemkin. It's just two Vandos being carried over. Not the best for RRQ in this upcoming round 8.
It is devastating, Will. I mean, you said it all. Polvi set up, talked about information and how, you got to be a little bit more active with it. But Global Esports are controlling the pace right now. First of all, yeah, they are making their presence known. At the same time, you've got Benkai on lurks throughout mid. RRQ has to be very cognizant of all of these moves, and sometimes it gets a little bit overwhelming. But at this moment in time, this week of VCT Pacific, when you have Global Esports, 5 wins in a row, how do you come back from that?
So this time they're going to try to actually keep control of whatever information they gain on the A side. But GE seems to be ready for it.
Okay. Jemkin tries to take contact. Oh, but kind of body blocked for a second. 2GE trying to fire back, but it's just not going to happen. Global Esports, they make it away. They'll take that one.
This is a position Flips has held during kickoff. GE surely is aware of it.
Oh!
You will not kill my ally.
Got that res. And we've been seeing this a lot. Povey and Lightning Fast double peeking, Povey taking the lead. And now with the res, it's even better.
Oh, I was thinking about it.
Yeah, it's just too risky of a position though, right?
Better to invest that lockdown in another round. Goes back around, and he will be able to find an angle. Takes down a single player. Wingman,
30 seconds left.
spike plant, not quite yet going through because of that Hunter's Fury. Now the lockdown gets deployed. Global Esports tries to back out. Lightning Fast will have no choice but to drop. Russ trying to hold it up from around yellow. Not quite expecting his bird to be pushed up that much front. 2GE now coming back up from the other side. It's Russ keeping things alive for Global Esports. All on his low, separated from the pack. 2GE cannot do much.
No, you have to save. You have to. I mean, 1 HP for Russ. What a hold on yellow.
The fact that he recovered and stabilized that one.
I mean,
he
Russ
definitely looks shocked.
Russ has been grinding, man. It's so clear. You know, and listen, I said it on social media as well. Like, I accepted. I was a doubter. You know, Russ fans and GE fans told me he's been grinding. He's been looking good in ranked. He's been looking good on stream. And in my head, I was like, well, until I see it on the stage, it doesn't mean much. We've heard so much about players that grind away and they can't convert it on the stage. And Russ has made it to internationals before, but the high days were cut short in the past.
Today, though, today.
I mean, not just today, right? The stage 1, sure, GE was rocky overall, but Russ and Lightning Fast both have been just getting better and better.
7-1, Ban.
And it's all because of that grind. It's all because of the belief from the fans. It always feels great. And the support means so much.
7-1.
RRQ needs a little bit of that right now. I'm surprised it took this long.
2-2, aman-aman. 2 kok.
7-1 is the score. This is Global Esports' comfort pick after all.
Yeah, and listen, we're not even seeing the vast
Buat Sparty sebelah sudah ngomel-ngomel, sudah ngamuk-ngamuk.
Right, it's a lot of these early duels where GE will always at least get the trade, and then they'll keep hold of the
General Son bilang katanya,
it's
ini
not even
apa?
about the number of frags, but it's the fact that GE still keeps the initiative. Sure, they're on the attack, so it's a bit easier to do that. And that's always been the trouble with defending on Icebox. You kind of have to push out from one side or the other pretty aggressively. And on A, you want to set up for the high-lows on pipes and things like that, but it's a very close angle. It's not the easiest here for RRQ, but they'll have to find a way. And now Povey has his own operator as well.
Oh, yeah.
Giliran Bani akilan 6. Agay 2.
Who knows? Timeout called.
I mean, look at G's position. They're waiting for.
Emang nggak bisa jadi satu itu.
They are waiting for a.
Nggak bisa sama-sama menyala abangku, nggak bisa.
Nggak bisa.
Harus salah satu.
I mean, this is week 3, William. Very tricky stuff. RRQ actually on the verge of losing this match.
Sampai 13-1 sih.
Maybe their chances of making it to playoffs. Elmi Moore caught unaware, caught lurking. Stopped by the window.
It felt like he was.
Mari kita lihat apakah setelah ditinggal sholat akan menjadi kemenangan. Sholat ini. Biasanya tiba-tiba menang. Biasanya. Musuhnya maksudnya.
In garage this time he doesn't have to show his back. That's always haunted him a little bit in the past.
Just A little bit punishing. And look at the patience from Global Esports. Blaze King marking the back. Benkai lurking up around mid. No movements from A. And Russ is still just trying to set up, or at least take a peek into the site.
Yeah, I mean, GE, they have no reason not to necessarily hit the A site. This pit is detrimental, but it doesn't cover the entire site. They still have a Sage Wall as well. So there you go. It blocks off right outside of the pit. I mean, it's a good setup here from GE.
Russ gets to walk in kind of more or less for free. 2GE still hovering up around Raptors, but the spike is down now. And there is a lot of heat breathing down the back of Jemkin. He will be able to turn around and feel it. He's trying to come back in.
Yeah, I mean, that lurk,
oh man,
it ruins everything. Jemkin has to clear it.
Oh,
Even then, though, 1v3, gotta go for the save again. I mean, it's a correct decision, but it's the worst correct decision every round so far, 3 rounds in a row.
Wow. He's still hot for the duels, though. Able to flick back. There's the 4th. Oh, my goodness.
I mean, listen, sure, get your ace, man, because you're going to need a consolation prize after this.
Aww.
Can't even finish it. Obviously, great 4 kills from Jemkin. But really, the focus is on the fact that GE is reading RRQ like a book. And here's the thing, even that round, right? You have the pit, but you know, if they have the pit, they're not going to fill the site. So you're basically going to creep up, and once you get right up to that starting point of the site plant, then you put up the Sage Wall. It denies any of the flood all the way to the plant. You send the wingman to make sure they're not breaking the wall too easily. And GE knows how this comp is played on the opposite side.
It's very familiar, knowing how to work around the pit, and it's just... It feels bad for RRQ right now. Like you mentioned, making all the right technical decisions, you know, on paper, but unfortunately it's not something that converts into a round win, and if that round wins are something that RRQ needs desperately. Flips able to play off of the operator. 2GE now holding out Garage. A little bit of damage, and it makes RRQ look a little bit better.
Yeah, at least you don't have the Jet or the Viper now, so that B site looking much, much less likely. So look at RQ's position. They want to just make sure that they're not showing their backs. They're making sure that they have mid covered from various angles.
Nice.
Big pick on the A flank as well.
I mean, the positioning this round, not exposing too much, not going up too often.
Oh, nice banget. Nice banget.
It's a flawless win.
8-2 flawless.
Keeps themselves afloat.
Yeah, float's the perfect way to describe it. They're going to desperately need these last 2 rounds if they want to feel any sort of comfort going into the second half. They can stabilize at a 4-8. It's not too bad. But this time, Flip's not alone on that lurk. That catches GE off guard a little bit. And then a heavier focus onto mid, knowing that GE is going to like to work it if they lose a couple members. RRQ slowly, but slowly catching on to GE's patterns.
Good timeout from Coach Ewok. Good adjustments from the players. Let's see if they can keep it up, because they are still very much in this fight. Although they only have 2 rounds, it's not over yet. Global Esports starting to fan out now, though. Jemkin trying to catch a sneaky one.
Lightning Fast was tagged, but he's ready for it. He knows the pinch is coming.
Ooh.
Nice, nice.
Tell me more.
Oh, this is, I mean, it was the call from Lightning Fast, right? That I need backup. I'll try to hold the first whip around. And Russ is trying to hold the other pinch coming out on the main path of A main. But, I mean, you just couldn't land the first shot. There's not much to it there.
Because RRQ's taking things into their own hands and trying to fight the pace of Global Esports now. They peek out. Something that Lightning Fast couldn't quite react to in time. The rest of the team not backing down. They pushed into the B site.
They're not quite sure about Blaze King being snuck in. He doesn't know!
At least a bit of cover from Xpharaoh from mid. Now we've got Elmimore marking things from Snowman. Trying to play around yellow. Pulvy, can he do it? He's got so many targets to hit. Jemkin on the operator. Just sniped right down. All the way into sight, into yellow. RRQ keeps themselves going.
I mean, RRQ's been losing pretty badly, so we haven't talked about it much, but Jemkin's shots have been on fire this map, right? He was a little bit heavy on that first map of Lotus. Definitely showed a bit of a raised diff. But this time on the Jet, at the very least, the snots are just absolutely sharp.
I mean, he's always been that duelist ever since on Scars from Ascension. He's been talked about, and this is why RRQ picked him up. Still needs so much more justifying these rounds. Sometimes doing a little bit of heavy lifting.
I like this timeout from GE. A bit of a counter timeout a couple rounds in, but you know, cool them off as they're starting to heat up. Make sure you can reset. If you can get the 9-3 even better. Things like that.
Sure, but it is like the last round of the first half, so a very kind of a curious one, but nonetheless, definitely looking for the 9-3 because once you go into halftime, if they can take that round, now we're just looking at 4 more for Global Esports to make it to map point.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you get 2 timeouts, and sure, you might need them both in the second half, but you're so far ahead that I think
just want to close it out.
Yeah, if you're forced to use both to try to make sure you're not getting caught up, I think those timeouts end up feeling bad either way, right? Because you're kind of giving a chance for the enemies to reset as well. So I don't mind it. Like, I'm not going to say it's objectively, the best timeout or anything like that. But obviously, especially based on maybe what he's hearing in the comms, things like that. But mostly to cool off Jemkin on the other side, 16-6-2, single-handedly keeping RRQ afloat.
That round, even with the spike going off, able to snap onto heads like that, critical. Global Esports now taking things a little bit slow, at least for the time being. RRQ has game plans to work against this garage push.
Oh, this is a trap.
Now up on top.
The mosh,
the dizzy, everything, it's all tossed in. Elmi Moore firing shots through the toxic screen, catching Global Esports.
Oh, this was a nasty setup from RRQ. I mean, the lineup on the mosh, and then it's just overall, the same, everything was so good. And then the high-low with the Blade Storm.
Blaze managing to lurk through mid, though, will be able to look for a bit more damage. Here's the footsteps at the last second, turns around.
Oh,
but look at the shots just firing it
nice,
through.
nice.
Making feel uncomfortable.
I mean, what a read after that timeout. What a read, and they pull out a new one from the strat book.
You might have been like a bit of a counter timeout from Coach Spin, but RRQ made sure to make use of it.
Yeah, I mean, very good read from RRQ. And the reason I don't mind it is, again, you haven't seen a really hard push on to B from GE, right? Generally, they're always kind of scouting for information on A. They take over Pipes control a little bit, and then they slow creep into B. You see that final timeout, you think they might do something a little different. You purposely try to bait them in. As the toxic screen comes out, you just show one Vandal trying to spam through it on a tempo. Say, hey, we're just trying to hold this off by trying to go for some of these, spams through the smoke, see if we can get a lucky kill. And GE just bites right on. The recon dart, the mosh, the thrash comes out. It's the read on the thrash as well. Overall, a desperately needed way to round out the first half for RRQ. It finishes on a high note, but overall they were still so far behind. So it's not comfortable just yet. Love from Turkey, eh? Welcome, welcome.
Hey.
That's just
awesome. I mean, it's a very satisfying round. A lot of satisfying support from the fans all over. Lightning Fast as well gets a bit of love.
Dude, Lightning Fast has been, he didn't get much of a chance last year, but you can tell he knows how much it means to be given this shot, right? The lone remaining member of GE's starting squad. And he is making full use of it. And oftentimes, on this Icebox, it's on that defense that he pops off with this Sage, all around that A site, the master of it. We'll see if RRQ can break up that pacing.
Yeah, because so far, Global Esports has been dominating the pistols today. Coming in with a bit of a game plan as well. Lightning Fast makes a bit of noise, hops up around pipes, and then the drone comes out, walls it off just to eliminate any potential secondary angles. Toxic screen up, it's just walls and walls.
Yeah, this is always going to be the trouble. This time they're able to get rid of the wall pretty early, but at the end of the day, GE...
Oh, Ben. GE just knows how to work around it. They know they need to draw RRQ.
Menang bro, aman aja bro.
Angles, Lightning Fast rush. Managing to take down so many players. It's all down to 2 GE. He tries to swing around. Blaze King descends upon him.
Yeah, you can tell Blaze King's feeling a little confident today. He's
GE-nya yang
got a
menang,
couple
bro.
moves up his sleeves.
Masih pistol, masih pistol.
Against some of his old friends on the other side.
Yeah, this is now my time to join the Pacific.
It's been a long time coming for Blaze King for sure. But yeah, that stage wall, I mean, sure, it comes out early, so RRQ is able to break through it. But the fact of the matter is RRQ, they always have to worry about using that util dump too early.
Definitely is very pesky. Because they want to, break through. They want to deal with all these walls that Global Esports puts up. Because if they don't, that's going to be a lot of map control. Now just opting to rush through B side instead, knowing they want to deal with lightning fast. But Blaze King, Master of Arms,
anjir, Blaze King itu gila banget anjir.
Benkai now firing a shot of his own on the site, and even Xpharaoh, who tries to peek out from back mid, gets spotted by lightning fast.
Sure, anti-ego,
Cita-cita mau playoff tapi begini, let's go lah.
For GE. I mean, they're playing like we haven't seen them before. Even the maps they've won, it wasn't with movement like this, with confidence like this, fighting as if they just can't lose. We talk about that so often, and I feel like viewers who have watched VCT for a while now will know when we see that. Right, the run and guns, things like, I just know I will hit my first, right? I just know I'm ahead of this guy in the mind games.
Yes.
That type of movement, the reactions coming out from Blaze King, the hype is there.
The glow in their eyes. They know that they can win these fights. That's why they're taking them. That's why they're going for it, Will. And now Polvi marking the angle. He's threading the needle. Beware, RRQ. There goes that first peek, and instantly Polvi flicks onto Jemkin's head. A rifle snatched right away from under his arms.
Man, and against the Sage now, with your Gecko Silva Cop, you don't have your Jet.
Gotta watch out for the trap.
Yeah, all you have to do is cut audio. This is your only chance, and it gets spotted.
Wall up, lightning fast playing around him. Russ is providing him with so much support. RRQ can't quite walk through. They've suffered that loss from the pistol round. They don't want to make it happen again. They've already lost their diver.
Yeah, RRQ knows cutting audio is the only option.
Uh-oh.
But he gets spotted again. He doesn't know that, but he is spotted. So GE's very well aware of this. Oh, they've already filled the site.
And that's just lightning fast, making the quick reactions. Polvi firing another shot off from screens. Spotted out, flips off the top. Polvi with the final shot too. It's a flawless round win. The bonus for Global Esports. This is it.
I mean, you have to force here, otherwise it's match point.
It's
a terrible round to have to force on, but they had to buy the full armors last time because of the Outlaw, and the Outlaw's still there, but you don't have much of an option, right? You can't play to not lose, so RRQ really finding themselves up against the wall here. And, I mean, this is, again, what I was talking about with the compositional differences, right? The wall comes out, I mean, sure, your Jet is down as well, but if you use your util dump too early, then they can just refill the site afterwards, right? If you hold on to it late, then you don't have as much information, things like that.
And what more can RRQ do other than to full send it with their force buy in this round?
Oh, but the trap play.
The orb, Blaze King very aware of it, and they've managed to check the angle. Polvi still with the Outlaw. RRQ just waiting for a bit of a peek.
I like that he doesn't dash out, right? I mean, I don't know about going back in, but he'll find one.
Now they know it's the Outlaw. They have no choice but to swing out. Russ is here. Global Esports, this is their round. This is their match. Swapped on over to the Sheriff. Doesn't matter if Russ is down. Benkai coming back in. It is now map and match point for Global Esports.
Sudahlah.
It's not over yet, but what a turnaround for GE. And it just seems like finally it is everything clicking. Right, we constantly talked about the potential, the reads, the plans, the prep. Yes. It's all there, but the execution's not. And I'm sure some viewers, they were getting sick of it, right? Because at a certain point, you're like, well, if they can't execute ever, then when does it happen? Then it doesn't matter what prep they have. I mean, but at the end of the day, today they're not only firing, but it's the positionals, it's the timings, the rotations even on Lotus were very good.
Gimana, Pan?
Very, very solid match.
It has been weeks.
Siapa yang menang,
Will, Global Esports, ever since kickoffs, looking a little bit shaky, but ever so slightly improving again and again.
Nah, sorry lang. Duway lang.
So he has the confidence to peek out of the screen, and they hold on to yellow. It's already 2 members down. You still have the operator.
2-0.
GE doesn't even care.
Aduh, padahal aku mau ketinggal Ape dulu. Ternyata Perek akan main cepat.
Ben's just watching too. If anyone tries to pull something sneaky, it's not
Too
gonna happen.
fast, too fast.
Just going forward. That's their only
Olah.
option. Updraft up.
Loh, wala.
And Russ is made aware.
Oleh deh.
They're waiting for that spike tap. There it goes.
They're even going to wait. They want to make sure, is there still a late lurk, right? Is there a wraparound? Because how else are you going to win this round? Now, Thrash online, 4 flips. But he's on yellow, so the timing has to be good. He's just going to use it to delay.
Perek bakal lumayan lebih
Play time
cepat.
as much as possible. Jemkin needs to land his first shot right here.
It's all about Jemkin.
Perek lawan.
Oh God. He spots them all over the place. Lightning fast with the op shot to open things up, and instantly down goes RRQ.
Lawan siapa?
One left, and he
Lawan
tries to swing up the
siapa dia?
top, but Polvi
Lawan siapa?
just a little bit too slippery from him.
Lupa lagi gue tadi Perek lawan siapa?
Esports picks up their first win in VCT Pacific Stage 1.
And with that, not a single team is
Sabar,
winless
gue
in
lupa lawan
VCT
siapa.
Pacific.
Secret.
Still in
Oh
flux.
iya, saya.
GE, they finally give back to the fans that have been holding
Hilang
on
Alpi.
to
Mana?
hope for so
Alpi hilang.
long for this new squad to come together to prove that firepower is not lacking on this squad.
The work, it's all paid off. They've made the improvements, every single one of them today. Ever since that first map on RRQ's pick, Lotus, they made the right reads, they made the right calls, they had the cohesion to make it happen.
Just an impressive showing. And meanwhile, I mean, obviously a little bit of troubles for RRQ, sure. I mean, now looking back, okay, maybe 2G having to be slotted in so late, maybe it creates a bit of a chasm in the comms, but that wasn't the only reason. Today, it's GE. It's props to GE. They came prepared, and they had the mentality, the fortitude to also prove and execute what they prepared.
Karena ini nunggu berapa menit? 15 ya biasanya.
They have to take that stage, take the podium, smile for the picture, because they deserve it. I love the little bit of a friendly hug from Blaze King to Elmimore as well.
Bisa buat segame nggak sih?
He's played alongside some of these guys, obviously. You know, they've been part of the same scene for so long. But what a moment for him as well. A lot of people started to question, where's that fire from Ascension? But it's back.
Jadi bisa buat segame nggak sih?
Tell us, Desk, is it back?
Segame apa?
I think it definitely
Kalau
is back, especially
bisa kok.
when now, after
Harusnya
so
bisa.
many days of GE fighting, you finally have GE winning the moment the fans have all been waiting for. I'd say
30
after
itu
this
awal.
17.
No, this was a dominant performance on Icebox and a really
Gampang
solid
ya?
performance on Lotus put together.
Coba cek dulu,
They
sabar,
looked really
belum.
good today. They had a lot of really good game plans, especially on Icebox. A lot of trap plays that really caught
30 bisa buat
completely
segame.
off guard. It didn't seem like they had great answers behind it. Polvi had an incredible day. Blaze King had an outstanding day. I mean, just a wonderful, wonderful win for GE.
In just short, everything clicked for GE, right? I was telling you that there was only just one more series where everything is gonna just turn for global esports here, and boy, it definitely did on a map as well. Okay, moving away from Icebox real quick, Lotus, never really expected them to play super well on that map. They really turned heads on that one, and coming into Icebox, did we really, you know, did we really doubt that they're gonna have a not so stellar game? They had an incredible game coming into second map as well.
Yeah, you look at the scoreline, and you know RRQ, they don't do badly on Icebox, right? We have seen some very good games from RRQ, especially up against opponents that are perhaps on top of the standings, right? But for RRQ, again, this was them on a day that was very challenging for them, and on a day that everything was just in favor of GE. It was just like the right place, the right time, the right energy for this team to take the win.
Yeah, and I mean, this is something that's concerning for RRQ, is that we see them come out, look like they can go toe-to-toe with some of the best teams in the world that they have, right? We saw in kickoff against Gen G, where they were pushing them to the absolute limit, just not quite able to beat them. So you got to think coming into this phase, we're like, okay, now RRQ's had a little bit more time to work on some stuff, get themselves a little bit better fundamentally, get that coordination a little bit more under their belts, and then it just all kinds of goes away from them today. It just fails them, and that's painful because we had much higher hopes for them. We were hoping to maybe get to finally see them at an international event, and now it's starting to look like that might be out of the cards once again.
Yeah, again, just a couple more matches here, but Global Esports, looking a tad more better, and just to add as well for RRQ, maybe it's because of that 2GE thing. Is Estrella going to come back quickly after that, out of commission day that he has today? We'll have to see.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see indeed, because this series is very confusing. I voted for RRQ here, but on our little guess and gain question, I also voted for GE, so it was like, oh, yes!
Oh, I have no idea. It was all over the place. There was like that classic pistol round win, and then like...
Yeah,
I don't know.
and you'd blink and then you'd miss something, and all of a sudden it was like, okay, RRQ is leading, GE is leading as well. But the final answer to our question is that GE leads with 9 pistol kills and RRQ got 1. So let's go over to our board.
Yeah.
And move people up and down accordingly. Who wants to go first?
Just move me down. I don't really care. this matters a lot less to me than it does to you.
Well, you know what? I'll join you over here. I get 1.
Yeah.
This is what it feels like to rank up. It's
That's
so
right.
good.
Yeah.
So good, right?
This is the first.
Yeah, feels nice.
Okay, here you go, Asarai.
Yeah. Finally, after a lose streak.
And you're taking our viewers with us.
Hey, fine.
With you.
You know what? The viewers were always with the hosts. Vic was like side by side with the viewers. Now we're kind of, agreeing with the viewers right now. We're bonding.
Yeah. You are bonding with our viewers, and then
thanks, viewers.
They're getting to believe you, especially with your incredible predictions that somehow come true. Yeah. It was incredible, especially since as we mentioned, everything just felt right for GE. There was also from RRQ, when you do have that last minute substitution coming in, you kind of wonder as well, like the rest of the players, all of the other 4 players will need to carry like exceptionally well. They can't make any mistakes at all, especially since they're dealing with a little bit of a disadvantage, right? We didn't exactly see that come online.
Yeah, it didn't feel like 2GE ever really got comfortable. And part of that is obviously GE's game plan coming in today. It looks like they had a really good read on him. But also, it does hurt you. There is no doubt about that. Still, though, you've got to play with the cards you're dealt. You can't just come out here and sneak some cards in and play with jokers. No, you're dealt a hand and you got to work with it. So in that case, RRQ. It's so hard because I saw a lot of mental mistakes here today that didn't have anything to do with 2GE as well. Like using Viper's Pit at really weird times, really weird spots that didn't quite make sense, kind of taking some gambles that I don't think they normally would. It felt like they were on the back foot from the beginning. So I know 2GE didn't play that great today, but I also don't really blame him that much. I don't really think it was that. I don't think it was really the biggest factor.
Yeah, I feel like, at least for me, I feel like I might have overestimated 2GE as well, because I'm a huge fan of what he's done from last year, and of course him being a Filipino player, I was thinking like, oh, this is another time for maybe one of the Filipino players to shine right now, but definitely not. It's not here because it feels like it's too rushed right now for RRQ, especially when again it was an emergency as to how he got slotted in.
Yeah, it was very last minute things. It also is a test for the team, right? How well can you adapt to this kind of thing? And for GE, for example, they've had to this whole strategy, this whole new energy that they're bringing, they've had to work with this for a whole week, right? We're seeing the results of it on stage, and of course it's kind of special as well. Like for Blaze King, for example, who has to go up against on the other side, his former comrades on Bloom Esports. They crossed the ropes together once upon a time, and now he's on the other side, and you can see how much confidence it actually gave him going up against people that he knew so well.
Oh yeah, no. He played out of his mind today. He was popping up on stage. I mean, he pulled out the Odin in game and out of game. He was really wanting this win big time. I mean, obviously you do no matter what, but sure, it's going up against some former teammates, some friends as well. You saw them hugging at the end, so clearly it's not like there's bad blood or anything. They're friends, but you want to beat your friends. Like everybody who's competitive definitely wants to be your friend.
Yeah, and this was, I guess, it's special. It's special also, when you're able to be on that stage with your friends, right? Not everybody gets that opportunity. But yes, for RRQ, again, it's a little bit back to the drawing board now, because this is revealing some mistakes. As you mentioned, it's not just 2GE, right? There's some mistakes here that go deeper than that, and that might need an entire, an entire period of time to be able to, cure or to be able to workshop once again, much as GE did just a few weeks ago.
It looks like it's the same problems we saw like at times last year where they would talk about the communication wasn't that good and they needed to work on it. You know, they're transitioning languages last year to English, you know, so that was causing some dysfunction as well. But now it feels like we're right back to that same kind of issue. Now, again, a lot of credit to GE. Like, there were good util combos and stuff, like the one to get Polvi up on top of yellow with the toxic screen, and then the snake bite to move Elmi more back on the rope there on B site and keep 2GE isolated. Things like that are really good, but then there isn't like protocols and follow-up and like communication for RRQ to like deal with these situations.
Yeah, and moving forward now, that means that their last match is gonna be up against Chen G, the one final match that they have coming in into Split 1 to maybe secure them a spot on playoffs. Of course, right?
Of course, it's
the big bad boss.
It was written in the stars, right? But for now, we can celebrate the win of Global Esports. We're gonna send it to Jen, who is on stage right now with Global Esports. So, hey Jen, what do you got for us?
Thank you, guys. I am now standing on stage with GE's Blaze King.
Okay.
Wow, congratulations, Blaze King. Everyone's been waiting for this win for so long.
Paper kontes, kita bakal nobar di tempat PaperX, oke? Ntar gue bakal sana, gue coba bakal live YouTube di sana. Thank you Mirja. Bye bye. Saya bakalan live di sana kemungkinan pakai handphone. Sip, thank you guys. Bye bye. RRQ kalah.
Pretty much like 50-50
Ah.
for me. I feel bad for them to lose, but